Paris in France, where today it is the decisive day where we will crown not one but two world champions. This evening we will see somebody take the world championship in the open division, WCT7, the World Chase Tag World Championships. But this afternoon it is the turn of the women. We've got 6 teams from across the world, some phenomenal athletes, all competing to become just the second ever women's world champions. I'm Dan Dawson. This is Conor O'Carroll, a man who has masterminded a team to winning 3 world titles. Admittedly, it was a long while ago. What are you expecting from this afternoon, Conor?
We have an absolute stonker of a competition in front of us. The women's division is stacked full of weapons. I think Anarchy really are the top of the pack. But that being said, Volt are going to put up a good fight. We've got actually one of the previous world champions in Nano. Nano not arriving at this competition, actually. They haven't made it to this Worlds, but they have sent their captain, and that's a transfer to Volt. So the only real opposition to Anarchy I'm seeing is Volt in this pack.
Yeah, it's interesting. Urban Core Nano is kind of disbanded now. However, we do have Miley's Blasco. Keep an eye out for her. What we do know is that whatever happens this afternoon, it is all going to play out behind us here at Les Arènes on the quad. Take a look at this beautiful square where the action is going to take place. No difference in the playing area between the women's and the open division, so it's all exactly the same. And as always with World Chase Tag, the evaders got to stay clear of the chaser for 20 seconds to register a point. Each match is decided over a series of 16 one-on-one chasers. Team with the best score wins, and they take 3 points, 0 points for defeat. And if it's a tie at the end of the 16 chases, they both get a point in the sudden death chase-off. Longest evasion wins will get an extra bonus point. Now, we have got 6 teams here this weekend from all over the world. Some have got experience of major chase tag competition. Some of them are rookies. They're split into 2 groups of 3 in the women's division. Top 2 in each group reach the semi-finals, and from those final 4, a champion will emerge. Let's take you through the competitors, shall we? Just while we warm up the crowd here at Les Arènes in Auvry-Courcouronnes. We're going to start in Group A and Volt. Now, Volt, former French national champions, won that title 3 years ago here in Paris. Now, they lost that title to Urban Core Nano, the team you mentioned. They disbanded, but they have recruited Miley's Blasco from them. That can only make them even more dangerous here this weekend, Conor.
Yeah, strong teams here. Obviously, not only did they lose to Nano, they've actually lost to a group in one of the women's groups in Group B, Kunoichi. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when they finally match up, or if they can even get out of this group to see Kunoichi. But right now, their biggest opposition, like I say, is Anarchy. And I can see they've got Sketchy Belen and Clements and Maria. All of these are going to really have to pull out the big guns, because they are a 5-woman team going up a full roster of Anarchy at 6 apiece.
Yeah, I mean, there's some real experience there. Mario, Clemence, Andrea, Miley, as you mentioned, Belline, a new recruit for them, but they do look dangerous. But let's talk about Anarchy, because they are arguably the favourites for the title here in Auvry. Amy Baldwin might be the best female chase tagger around. You might recognise the name, sister of Kai, who's competing in the open division with Hollywood Freerunners. They are missing their captain, Dara De Paula. Her sister, Jaden, is involved instead. However, they have done a bit of business themselves. Ava Yamani, you just see her there, number 69, I think she is. She has been recruited from Volt, who they've been put in the same group as, and she's not here for a fun time with her friends. She was doing the press conference here the other night, and she is here to basically tear people apart.
Yeah, to quote her, she is happy to play the villain. So we're going to see some villainous behavior here on the quad. Brittany Durant also being able to throw some heavy levels of athleticism. She's competed in a number of big parkour comps, so it'll be good to see her get onto the quad here again and show us what she's got. And we have Alison Lind, a sub for their team captain Dara, who unfortunately had a bit of an accident off quad. All the best on her recovery there.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll be here cheering him on with a cast on her leg. Completing Group A, we've got Valkyrie. They've got a former Volt player themselves in the Ecuadorian Viviana Silva. The rest of their lineup drawn from all over Europe. We've got the Hopkins sisters from England, Julie Lehman from Germany, based in the Netherlands where there are a couple of quads, and then Julie Sorrow from here in France. But let's move on to Group B, because Kunoichi are the big interesting ones. The first winners of a World Chase Tag Women's League event. That was the US National Championship 4 years ago. Now, they've only ever gone on to reach finals of things since then, keep losing out. But there's some real experience. Jess Chan and Caitlin Bergstrom-Wright, Domino, Taylor Carpenter as well. Look, very quickly, Conor, what do you reckon?
Telecopter, I mean, a transfer from Apex, that means in Apex or statistics, Apex strategy, sorry, is going to be put into play, but they've also got an ex-referee as their coach. Very organized practice. Let's see what they can do on the quad, but right now we have some video for you.
No, we got Fakaw as well in that team, in that group, sorry, and then Rooftop Queens as well. But it is time to get underway with the women's division here at World Chase Tag World Championship.
Proper stuff, the final, the first ever in the women's division.
I just care about my family, my Kunoichi family.
Very cute. I'm not nice, you know, Jess.
Je suis là pour gagner le titre.
Steps in, new recruit for this team. She's been really understated. She's been doing her job.
Who do you want to see lose the most and why?
I'll say Anarchy because they're like the favorite.
Such a force in this tournament, you can see why there.
I want to take off the smile and just go like animals.
With a dive and reaches up, doesn't get her, does not get her.
Oh, shows one way, then the other, and then back under the mountain. And she's built up a little bit of comfort there. And it looks like it's another point.
We are ready to go for the Women's World Championship of Les Arènes of Corcoran. You can see Valkyrie backstage about to enter the playing area. Fully daubed with what appears to be some sort of fancy war paint, it would seem. Elizabeth and Zoe Hopkins, Julie Lehman, Julie Soro and Viviana Silva, a recruit from Volt, one of their rivals in this year's tournament. Valkyrie, plenty of experience, number 4 ranking in the world. However, Connor, they've never actually gone all the way and won a title, certainly not a world title. It would be a surprise to see them come out of this group and go all the way.
Yeah, they're definitely competitive. We've seen them more recently in the Brent Cross and Quality Movement chase-offs. Same weekend, Dan. So they've got the grit, they've got the endurance to do that travel in between, compete at a high level. But right now we have our second favorites. These are Volt walking in to the arena. WCT7 French champions, but unfortunately no Ava in sight.
No Ava, however, they do have Mylis Blasco, a world championship winning player with Urban Core Nano. Could she have won the very first Women's World Championship and then come and win the second one with a brand new team? That is what Mylis is looking to do, alongside the likes of Andrea, Berlin, Clémence and Marior. Now, Clémence Benoit in particular was a big, big player for them. And we start off, and it is Mylis that they're sending in. Perhaps that's a bit of a statement from Volt that they are going to make full use of her experience and her quality.
Smart move, Dan. Absolute smart move there from Volt. So let's see what they can do. A little bit of nerves here on the first chase of the first match. But there's a bit of crowd cheering, and we've got the crowd on their side. French favorites. Let's see what's going down.
Number 2 on her back. She is looking for world title number 2. Viviana Silva, the ex-Volt player, who is lining up on the chaser's plate. We should be ready to go any second now, and the very first matchup of this year's Women's World Championship.
Athletes ready! 10 seconds!
Valkyrie versus Volt. Chase 1. Volt evading.
Athletes ready!
Mylis starting by the ridge. For her new team, heads across the quad to the tilted cube. Viviana through the tilted cube, kind of a stumble over the sisters and then tripped up effectively by Viviana to make the tag.
Yep, Viviana showing that she might even have the answer to Meilise, and that will be an important factor throughout the rest of this match. As we know in World Chase Tag, if we get that tag, we do not get a point. Points only awarded for evasions, and now Viviana's got the opportunity to get that first evasion for Valkyrie.
Clemence Benoit into the action. Viviana starting by the sisters. Clemence hopping about up on the platforms. Gets onto that front line. Viviana under the sisters. Stops, turn around, goes the other way. Wasn't quick enough turning around.
Yeah, a bit of hesitation there by Viviana under the sisters. Good work on changing direction, but you need to get back off of your knees and your hands and get back to your feet so you can run back through the front line and get some cover on you. Clemence doing really good to be able to drop in between the sisters and get that tag there.
0-all.
Athletes ready!
Julie Soro, the French member of this Valkyrie team. We're going to get hold of Clemence. Comes under the mountain, turns into a race around the outside, claiming the snipe tag. Looks like she got her hands just on one of the bars there by the tilted cube.
Short work, and there it is. There's the game face. War paint and everything. Julie Soro is not here to mess about.
10 seconds.
Phase 4, Valkyrie evading. 0-all.
Athletes ready!
Julie Soro starting by the sisters. Sets off to the tilted cube. Shimmying around, there's a dive through the tilted cube. It does not make contact. Julie Soro's away around the front line. She's built up a little bit of space. Under the ridge, round by the loading bay. We're into the last few seconds of this one. There needs to be a dive, there needs to be a move, and there is no move because Julie Soro has put Valkyrie 1-0 up.
There it is, first evasion on the board. This is statistically going to be a massive advantage. If they can hold that one evasion for the rest of this, they can do real well to get the clear win in the tournament, and wins are worth much more than sudden death.
Athletes ready!
Well, this is number 8, Andrea Quesny. Played a huge role in Vault win at the French National Championships a few years ago. And she's really tailing, and she's quick enough to get the tag against Julie and keep the lead at just 1 point.
Yeah, and you can see why there, Dan. She's got the legs, she's got that speed. She's honing in on Julie the whole way around the quad, catching up distance and being able to get closer and closer before making that tag just there by the bottom of the mountain.
10 seconds.
1-0, Valkyrie.
Athletes ready!
Julie Lehmann into the action for the first time. The German training in the Netherlands, where she's a personal trainer. Andrea under the ridge, down by the loading bay. There's a dive through the loading bay and managed to have enough momentum to get out the other side and make the tag.
Classic dive there, getting that threaded dive between the bars, get the slide, and then look up without hitting her head on that bottom bar there, just by the end of the loading bay, being able to reach out and get the tag all in the same motion. Great movement there, shows she's been putting in that work and training hard in the Netherlands.
1-0, Valkyrie.
Athletes ready!
Julie Lehmann, could she double Valkyrie's lead? Still in the first half of this game, but Valkyrie, the outsiders in this group, they still lead, but it's only 1 point. And am I right in thinking that is Leia Marionette with the Vault team down there, former Knight of Flight when Urban Core Nano went on to take the first World Championship. She's now evidently teamed up with Vault, it would appear.
10 seconds.
French on French, making sure she is supporting those that she trains with. That makes sense to me.
Athletes ready!
Viviana Silva back into the action. Setting off. Trying to get hold of Maëlys Blasco. Maëlys Blasco, it didn't start well for her. She was tabbed, but can she, with her new team, manage to put a point on the board and level this game up over to the tilted cube? Time's running out. Maëlys Blasco waits and waits, and the quad, but the tag is claimed. Evasion has been given, but is that going to be checked?
The lights have gone up, Dan, but that does not mean we are going to go for a straight evasion here. We have a disputed tag review, the first one of this session.
It could be the foot. It could be the foot right on the buzzer. She is very nearly, Miley's, produced a buzzer-beating jump out of the quad. We saw that happen in the open division. Leon Brandt of Quality Movement managed to do it successfully. It looked as if that would have worked, and it has, unless there is a hand on the heel of the shoe just before the 20 seconds is up.
When in doubt, I mean, the aim of the game is to evade. If you can evade in the air, outside of that border, all is fair play. It's only when we're getting our feet to land on the concrete that we are disqualified.
No. Now this is going to our video ref. That is Johan, our head ref quad side, but we have Stefan looking at the video, and they will be doing the exact timings to make sure if there was contact. It did look like there was possible contact. If it happened before the 20 seconds was up, and it has to be obvious.
Yeah, definitely looks like there was a tag. Definitely looks like it was obvious enough. However, did it make the time? That's what we're reviewing. That is what Stefan's going to be reviewing. Our man in the van is going to be pumping in the data. That is what Johan's listening to now in his earpiece. He's making a decision, figuring out what's what. And we also have around the quad, not just Johan, but multiple other first-person views of his other refs. And that ref team are responsible to make sure all that intel can get passed to the head ref to make a clear decision. Oh, Leah doing a little bit of coaching there. Make sure everyone's still got their head in the game.
Looks like we got a decision. Is it an evasion? Is it a tag? Evasion given!
God.
What a moment! Miley's Blasco levels the game up at the halfway stage.
There we go, and we have a game on our hands, Dan.
Wow. What a move. Look, we don't know. We haven't got confirmation whether it was a lack of a tag or whether it was after the time limit. But whatever happens, Miley's Blasco has made it one apiece.
Athletes ready!
The World Championship winner with Urban Core Nano has leveled this one up. And now it is one of the Hopkins sisters, Zoe, who's into the action. Trying to track down Miley's Blasco, who's got a tail up here and goes around the outside of the sisters and gets away, and it might be another point here, and Volt might be taking the lead, turns back on herself, goes under the ridge, and looks over the shoulder, even had time to slow down, have a little look over the shoulder to see Zoe Hopkins floundering. It is 2-1 Volt.
And look, great technique there by Zoe. She's getting the flushes, she's managing to achieve these spider movements in between the bars, but she just doesn't have the acceleration down. She can't catch up to Meili's on the straight, and that front line is making the difference for Meili's right now.
Julie Lehman back into the action. Miley's has gone back to back. She turns around in open ground and Julie makes the tag. Volt lead it, but only by a point.
Now it's going to be worrisome for Valkyrie here. If they've only got one player, if Julie Lehman is their one hope, then yes, she can play one chase down, maybe two, but you're going to get tired. You've got 16 chases to play as a team, and it is not a one-woman tournament.
Well, arguably, Andrea Kwesny's high watermark came when they won the French National Championship, and she managed to tag Leia Marionette, who's now basically working with her team 3 times in the final. Can she make the tag here to preserve Volt's lead? Into the loading bay, dives through the bars, makes the tag.
Great idling there by Julie Lehman, but Andrea just had her number there on the dive tag through the loading bay, spotting out when she's going to break away from the obstacle, understanding which direction she's going, and then just full sending there between the bars to get that tag and then recover Andrea's waist between the bars to make sure she didn't slam too hard.
Athletes ready!
Andrea Kwesny round by the front line. The other Hopkins sister, Elizabeth, into the action here. Goes over the sisters. Tries to get Olga through the mountain, but there's a big old gap there, and it's not really closing. Andrea Kwesny's controlling this, just keeping it. It's not even at arm's length. It's many arms. It's gigantic squid-like arms, and that's enough because it's another point for Volt.
Yeah, tag attempt made, but far too late, Dan. We need to see a little bit more pressure. You need to close that ground. You need to put Andre under a little bit of pressure there, so she'll make a mistake. The evader needs to feel like you're on them. They've got all of that distance. They are clear thinking, and they're going to always be able to make the right decisions to get away.
Athletes ready!
Well, the former teammates facing off here. Viviana Silva sent in to try and stop Andrea Kwesny winning the game for Volt here. They lead 3-1 with just 4 chasers left. There is a dive. It is claimed and it is acknowledged. And Valkyrie haven't lost it just yet, but it's going to be down to Viviana Silva to go back to back just to level the game.
Tag made, Viviana having a little bit of a slam down there on the ground, picking herself up, wiping herself down and being like, okay, let's get it. I have another opportunity here to try and bring this back, but we do have match point on our hands, which means she needs the evasion to even have the chance for a draw.
And can she get it against Clémence Benoit? Tall, rangy, going to be able to reach through those bars. Doesn't need to because she gets her in open ground, and that seals the victory for Volt. It looked like they might be in trouble, 1-0 down after 7 chases, but then rattled off 3 evasions in just 5 chases. Miley's Blasco, their World Championship winner that they'd recruited from Urban Core Nano, turning it around, and then Andrea Kwesny just putting the icing on the cake, Connor.
Yeah, really making a difference there. I thought Miley's for a second would be their only answer to greatness, especially 1-0 down. You've got to understand the significance, Dan. 1 point, 1 evasion in World Chase Tag is so much. These guys aren't going to score 10 points, 15 points. It is going to be between 1 and 5, maybe 6 maximum. It is really hard. So once you get that evasion, you want to hold on to it. And unfortunately for Valkyrie, they couldn't hold on to that long enough. My prediction was actually on Valkyrie originally. I have been shown Volt have really showed up, they've shown what they're worth, and there you go, they've taken this first game.
Yeah, and we crack straight on. We now turn our attention to Group B. And it is 2 sister teams of teams in the open division that we're going to see going head-to-head. Fakaw Women, sister team of Fakaw, who are based right here in Paris. They've been excellently supported for the start of this year's World Championship. And the crowd has filled up this afternoon over the last few minutes. They may have most of the support here in the women's tournament.
Yeah, actually the youngest team in the whole competition at this stage, but they have done super well. Even on a limited roster, we've seen them chase out in Brent Cross. Even with 3 members, Fakaw managed to beat out Valkyrie at Brent Cross. So they are in good standings now in this, the second Group B, to be able to push and get through to the next stage.
Well, Rooftop Queens, a World Championship debut, and as you can see, 4 of them. They're
That could be a problem.
It could be a problem, particularly if it's only 2 group games you've got to play, but then you might have a semi-final, then you might have the final. 4 matches with only 4 players. What you can't really afford to do is have anybody that you cannot rely on. If you've only got 4, you're going to have to use all 4, and they're all going to have to perform, Connor.
Yeah, you've all got to be superstars. Now, I've seen in practice a couple of days ago, we've seen Sage really throw down some interesting, intricate technique, especially with the ridge, being able to thread those bars, being able to have quick feet, a lot of jitter steps, a lot of idling. So it'd be interesting to see if she can bring that into this World Championship under the pressure of the lights and the pressure of having to win the comp.
Well, it is Noor Yulkoglu who starts on the quad as evader, and it's Kali Spataro who is chasing. Kali from Toulouse in France. But this Paris-based team moves into the loading bay and then under the ridge. And look at the speed from these 2. It's all around the outside. One goes over the sisters, one goes under the sisters. The tag does not look like it's made. Is there enough time to have another chance? It looked like there might be, but maybe not. Too much pace. Oh no! Not enough pace right at the end.
There it is on right at the end of the chase. Within a second, we've got a secure tag there. Noor did real well, to be fair, running that whole way round. She did miss out on that tag as she scrambled underneath the sisters, but I could see there Kali just managed to keep on her tail the whole time and just work that acceleration. Again, this front line, you need to find a way to sprint that front line and turn that corner even quicker when you've got someone on your tail.
Well, Noor seems kind of confused. Did she think she managed to last the full 20 seconds? She didn't. Does not matter. So Kali gets to stay on and tries to put Fakaw into the lead. using the loading bay, going back and forth around that pole, but the tag comes in, and the tag is made. Sage, their American recruit, brought in from the Dexterity Depot team.
Yeah, competed with many of the Open Division, but that is not a new thing. Obviously, we've got Fakaw and Rooftop Queens, and all of these are going to be competing with their sister or brother team in Fakaw Men's in the Paris and Rooftop Kings in Rotterdam.
Well, Johan, oh, that's excellently done. Very quickly done by Johan.
Yeah, clean flush there, right around the ridge, and then being able to speed up to the back of the quad where we have the mountain ramp. Nice, clear tag. Sage surprised she got tagged so quick, but hopefully that can let her get back to her team, recover, work out a game plan, because they do only have 4 members. She will need that recovery.
Athletes ready!
Time for Vera. Vera Verhoef and this Dutch team scooting around the ridge there. Some work being done by the lazy boy. Oh, wow, bounces off the sisters. Actually worked out quite well there for Johan Olive, who flies around the front line and goes to the safety of the ridge. How safe is it going to be? Back round the front line again. Vera left stuck. Wow. Well, was it a mistake that actually went in her favour, or do you think that was an intentional bounce off the sisters, Connor?
The sisters is definitely the crux moment here for me, but Joanna knows what she's doing. Even if it was a slight stumble, the recovery and the adaptation is what we're looking for here. She has put herself in so many different positions around this quad by practicing with Fakaw and making sure she's even ready for the Open Division men's at some point. That is what her big goal is, Dan.
Well, it is 1-0 Fakaw as Noor comes back into the action. Johan Olive under the sisters there. That one navigated a little more safely. Wow, goes directly underneath her almost. That was a bold move. Very high risk, did not pay off.
Yeah, if she'd have just been able to get a little bit further away, she'd have got a nice breakaway, got a little bit of distance and been able to recover back to a high EQ area. But the problem with these unexpected moves is if we're throwing these early on, people are going to start to expect these sort of jutters and jits. Now, you've got to worry that it's not just going to be a linear play, and you've got to second-guess your player the whole time after that.
Well, Noor looking to evade. They went to her in the very first chase of this one. Do they believe that she's a particularly strong option for them to try and get points on the board? There's a reach over the bars, and the arm just isn't quite long enough. As Kali tries to track her down. Noor moves away under the ridge, looking good this one. 19 seconds, 20 seconds, and that's a point. We've got a level game.
There we go, and that's the result Noor was looking for on that previous run. She was so close to the bell. She almost got that 20 seconds, and this time she's got the 20 seconds full, got that evasion in, and now it's time to get her head back in the game and see if she can make a difference. They are still in an impasse here, Dan. 1-1 in Chase 7. We're coming up to a halfway point of this match. Let's see if she can tip those odds.
Lea Porqueras de Silva, another team member from Toulouse. Up into the tilted cube, drops out of it, goes under the mountain, makes a dive, but there's no tag given there. She tries to cut off the angle, but gets kind of stuck up in the lazy boy there. And Noor could go back to back here, because there's only a few seconds more she has to hang on for. Under the ridge, and that'll do it. Back to back evasion. Rooftop Queens have turned it around.
And there it is. I was really expecting Leah to have a little bit more on the quad there, based on the fact that Noor is already tired. They've got a limited roster. Rooftop Queens, under the circumstances, are absolutely smashing this match. Let's see if we can keep riding that momentum. Now we got Johan, is a huge competitor, massive rival here. She is on the chase plate. Let's see what she's going to do for Fakaw.
Well, they go to Johan once again. She did get that evasion for them, and she gets the tag in double quick time, and that means Johan Olive has a chance now to level the game with her second evasion of the match.
Interesting player choice here, Dan. It looks like Fakaw have got the members, but they're not using the whole roster. I would, at this point, especially when you're down a point, just be using whoever we've got that's fresh that can get the job done.
Athletes ready!
Well, it's Sage once again for Rooftop Queens as we enter the second half of this game. It is the Dutch-based team that lead this one by 2-1 against the home favourites, Fakaw. Sage drops down from the tilted cube, flushes her woman out of there, but can she actually find an opportunity? She's not finding one here, and she needs to go. She needs to make a move, and that move is not coming in time. And we do have a level game because Johan, for the second time in this match, gets a point on the board. It's 2 apiece.
There we go. But if Johan is the only answer to the rest of the Rooftop Queens roster, then we do have a problem. I want to make sure Johan wins this, but she's got to think about how she's going to keep that energy for future matches in this tournament.
Well, they're sending in Vera again. It was Vera who Johan evaded earlier on to get the first point of the match. Can she do it again? Bounces off the mountain, but she looked up just to find Vera right there with her. It remains 2 apiece.
Yeah, smart undercut there by Vera, making sure she's spotting Johan's pattern, where her direction is going to go, and then cutting in on the inside there, deciding to take the route on the inside of the loading bay. And there's the tag by the mountain.
Now, this is interesting. Lucie L'Empereur, who is a French national champion sprinter. 60-meter champion, was an outsider in that final, but really did perform, and she was pretty quick covering the ground there.
Yeah, there we go. I'd say that's even sort of bordering on a spike tag there, Dan. There wasn't much resistance. There wasn't much getting in her way. It looked like it was around a 5-second count for her to be able to sprint all the way into the quad, flush out from the ridge, and then get that tag by the mountain again. A lot of mountain tags here.
Rooftop Queens. This is Roos from Rooftop Queens. The first time we've seen her in action. It is taken until chase 12 for them to go to Roos. She reaches up the mountain and can't get Lucy. Is she going to use this pace? She is incredibly quick, but not quite able to get out of the way of the hand there. Tag comes into the bottom of the mountain.
There's a tag and a stumble, and more important than the stumble is Lucy being able to get the recovery roll out from the mountain. These athletes all obviously practicing at their quads around the world, depending on where they are. They are getting that training in, they're practicing the ukemi, they're practicing falling, all those different techniques necessary to play this at the highest level safely.
Kali is the chant here. As Kali Spataro-Serac comes in trying to get hold of Roos Wind. Oh, just turns around and goes straight into the pole. Didn't really have awareness of where that obstacle was.
Pressure, 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 Dan. You see the speed in which Kali shot off of the chase plate and then flushed out from the ridge. I think that just caught Roos by surprise, and by the time she's turned and decided to make an escape, she's found herself in the wrong position.
Hitting the bars like vintage Lindsay Lohan there. 2-2. Kali stays on. Can she put Fakaw into the lead? It is Sage who's back into action here. Tries to get above the front line of the lazy boy, does not work. Gets really tangled up there, Kali, but she might have got away with it. No, she just could not get the speed up as she was going around the corner. It is 2 apiece with just 2 chases remaining, and that means that Sage, for Rooftop Queens, has a chance to win the match right here, right now. If she is tagged, then the match point will be for Fakaw in the 16th and final chase. And who is their choice?
And they do want a clear win here, Dan. They don't want to be ending with a sudden death. That is not going to give them the points necessarily to get out of the group. They want to smash this win.
It is Johan Olive charged with getting hold of Sage. Can she make the tag? She needs to save the game. She stumbles, she keeps going. Sage goes over the mountain. She reaches up, she just gets her before she disappears over the crest of the mountain. And that means Johan Olive will stay on and have a chance to win the game for Fakaw.
This could be a big moment for the youngster here, Dan. These guys coming up from the academy system, they have played in the under-16s. They are now of an age to play in the Pro League. This would mean the world to Johan. Let's see if she acts well under the pressure of it.
It's the 2 standout players from this game. Johan Olive, who's got both the evasions for Fakaw. Noor, who's got both the evasions for Rooftop. Going head-to-head in the final chase. It's 2 apiece. There's a dive, and it's just enough to get the tag over the sisters. And after 16 chasers, it remains 2-2, and we go to sudden death in the opening game here in Group B.
Exciting stuff, Dan, exciting stuff. The sudden death obviously means it was
10
a
seconds.
draw, and now we're going to move into a slightly different game type where both teams get to pick who's going to be the chaser, who's going to be the evader for each team, and then after that, we are looking at the best time wins. The fastest tag is going to win. It's the person who can evade the longest that is going to get the eventual win on this sudden death.
And it is Lucy Longforo, the sprinter for Fakaw Women, who has been chosen. And it is going to be Vera Verhoef, who is charged with tracking her down. Lucy sets off towards the loading bay, moves through the mountain. That's a quick attempt. That's a quick attempt, it's claimed. But she can't just claim it and rely on that. She has to keep chasing because every second counts in this sudden death chase-off. Vera into the loading bay, another dive through the mountain. Another claim. Now, there is a tag, but it's whether it's tag 1 or tag 2. Because if it's tag 2, then it's a real opportunity for Rooftop Queens. If it is tag 1, wow, that's a real problem for Fakaw.
Yeah, she's going to want that first tag down. That first tag was nice and quick, rapid little tag in there, and that is going to give them the best opportunity. If it is that lower number, then all they've got to do is try and evade to that same number, and they have won the sudden death, giving them a bonus point here in the group stages of this tournament.
Now, there are two things I've got to check. One, was that first tag making contact? And then, what time was that? What time was the second tag if it didn't? Because they are going to have to now go out and evade Rooftop Queens.
She did real well, though, Dan. To be honest, even the second tag, it can be done. You can get a player on the board right there, on the quad, sorry, who can get away for enough time to get that 16, so 15, 16 second mark. But realistically, she wants that 5-6 second tag. That first one would really give them the advantage.
Well, if it is, look, you can see our clock on the screen is at 16.72. Oh, we in fact think we can go quad side. So we have Greg Ball down with Rooftop Queens quad side. Let's go to him.
Right, we're down here with Sage. Sage, you actually come from Team Dexterity, but you're playing here with Rooftop Queens today. How does it feel playing in front of the French crowd for the first time?
It's definitely a little intimidating. When I played with Rooftop at their home gym, their crowd was amazing and they were hyping us up, so it's definitely a little different, but the energy is still definitely there, so we're having a great time.
Yeah, for sure, and I've seen some incredible tags in this match in particular. How do you feel like your team is playing so far? Obviously, it's a very tight match.
Yeah, I'm super happy with how we're playing. This is all of our first World, so this is all that we could ask for. We're happy to be here. So,
well, good vibes all around. I appreciate your time. We're about to get an answer, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Greg Ball. We appreciate you as well, in a way. Now, do we have a decision on the timing? Are we looking at tag 1 or tag 2? The timing will be from one of them. Ignore the clock on the screen. It will be different from that. It will be a shorter time span than that, even if it is tag 2.
Yeah, this is a rough approximation. The actual official time is getting measured with our system in the background. This is just a projection, and then we will get a finalized time that is being measured against. Oh, athletes nervous in there in anticipation.
Yeah, Lucy and Vera sat on one of the platforms there, awaiting the verdict. One of them will be very, very disappointed in a moment. One of them will be delighted, but even if it goes the way they want, it is not done and dusted. We've already seen in some sudden death chases this weekend. Oh, now then. So where are they? There appears to be 2 attempts here. There's a swing with the right and a swing with the left.
The right is the only one I think is a legit effort, but even then, I don't think anything was made. So it's either the hip or the foot. Vera's reaching out to that left hip or second hand down to the foot. Even 14 seconds down, like I say, I mean, it wasn't an evasion. It's not going to be the most upset that I've heard about now. We can go 14 seconds on the quad, can be done. We've got some absolute weapons that could get that done by Rooftop Queens.
Yeah, I mean, it is a tag.
Tag made,
we
but
knew
when?
that. But what's...
3.47. There's the spike.
Okay, wow. Wow.
Rapid. One of the fastest tags in all of World Chase Tag history to this point.
I mean, that is a very small number.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a small number, Dan.
Okay. So it is going to be Noor for Rooftop Queens, who is looking to evade and only has to hit. Bearing in mind she's already evaded for 20 seconds twice in this one. Can she evade for 3.5 seconds? That's all she needs to do. And she is starting as far away as possible. Surely this is a done deal. She's not even going to get... Wow, 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 wow!
That was a risky move.
That was a lot closer than it needed to be.
That was a risky move. Top tip, I've been coaching a long time, Dan. Top tip, don't run towards the chaser when you need to get a 3-second win. You got 3 seconds, you can basically stand still. Don't make it easier for him.
You know what? I'm all for it, because that really did introduce some jeopardy, which I did not think we were going to have. But it could be jeopardy for Fakaw, because they have been beaten in sudden death. It'll be 2 points to Rooftop Queens and just the 1 point to Fakaw. And let's head back quadside with Greg Ball.
Here today, and it's down to the absolute wire over here. Firstly, how do you feel about Fakaw's performance today?
Good, very good, very good. But Rooftop is always a really tough challenge. It starts to piss me off. They always fucking win. God damn it, man! So tight every time. I'm so happy to fight them. It's really cool for the girls. I love them, and yeah.
Good. And now you both are facing Kunoichi up next as well.
Yep.
How are preparations going for Kunoichi?
Bro, to be honest, I'm just first trying to survive this one because it's a really close one. And then after, we're gonna go to the second match to see what we're gonna do. We're gonna live it match by match.
Nice. Well, look, glory to the girls today. You had your chance yesterday. Let's see how this one turns out. Back to you, Dan, and your incredible words.
Thank you very much, Greg. That was Red One, who's the team captain for Rooftop Kings, the brother team, if you like, to Rooftop Queens, and he'll be very happy to see them take the couple of points in that one. So that is the first game in Group B done.
Group A, Group B, we've got our results there. We're now going to cycle back into that Group A for a bit of a mix-up. But Dan, before we get there, have you noticed Greg's been real nice to you recently?
Yeah, not nice enough, I would think. Should we apologise for the language in that interview? I would love to. I'm also not that interested. I'm sure we're all big enough and ugly enough to figure that one out. Right, we're going to go back to Group A. Now, Valkyrie have already been on the quad once. They were beaten 3-1 by Volt. If they lose to Anarchy, who are the title favourites, then that is going to be Valkyrie's slim chances of getting out of the group.
Dead in the water.
Gone. And it will just be a straight shootout between Anarchy and Volt, which is what we kind of expected for the top spot in the group.
It was always going to be hard for Valkyrie, this match in particular. So coming in off the back of a loss, I assume they've got to really think about how to compose themselves, how to come in with that mindset. Okay, cool, let's shake off that last match. Let's come into this one fresh. Let's see what we can do to make some waves. These are not super women. We're not up against Wonder Women here. These are normal human beings. They can be beat the same as anyone else. Valkyrie needs to keep that in mind, keep the hope alive, and then get that smash.
But here come Valkyrie for their second game here. It was an early lead they took against Vol, only to then be pegged back and then find themselves losing it by 3 points to 1. If they do get ahead here against the title favourites, they've got to be better at preserving that lead and making sure they get the tags. But that is easier said than done, because these guys, many expect, are going to go all the way to the title. They're being led out by Dara De Paulo.
There we go, team captain.
On crutches, following a pretty horrific injury earlier on this week, which has ruled her out of action.
The commitment, though, Dan, the commitment to support her team, do whatever it takes, even in a cast, to be able to be there, be present, and get them riled up to take this home. WCT7 US champions. Let's see what they can do here in the group stages of WCT7, the World Championship.
Yeah, chance to really go out and make a statement here, Anarchy, in their opening game. They do have Dara's sister, Jaden, but with Amy Baldwin, they have a true star of this sport. Amy Baldwin's statistics are quite terrifying, to be honest. She evades about a third of the time, but the new recruit, Ava Yamani, she's got similar numbers, and that's over a lot of chases as well.
Yeah, a weapon, Dan, an absolute weapon, or as she likes to call herself, an animal. She's going to be out there, she's going to be ferocious, and I'm sure we're going to see some fantastic chases.
10 seconds.
Well, Julie Lehman is going to start off as the chaser for Valkyrie. And it is Jaden DePaulo who will lead off for Anarchy, starting by the ridge. Goes around the front line. Julie Lehman turning it into a chase. There's a slip there from Jaden, and Julie makes the tag.
Okay, that gives me a little bit more confidence there. I was worried. Julie Lehman is one of the better answers for what's going to happen against Valkyrie. So putting her in first and her being able to get the tag, secure that against Jaden nice and early, gives them a little bit more hope. Let's see if Julie can get it done.
Ava Yamani lining up for Anarchy, the former Kimio Vault player. She is here to be an animal. She is not here to be nice. She wants to take the smiles off people's faces. Can she get the tag to do that to Julie? Moves into the center of the quad. There's a little slip that does not deter her. By the tilted cube. Time running out, and there's a dive through, and Ava Yamani, who saw this coming, there's another dive, and Julie manages to get the point, and Anarchy find themselves behind.
The hope is alive. Valkyrie getting it done. That European backbone being able to smash out and get the first evasion by Julie. She got the tag, she got the evasion. Let's see if she can get back some of that energy and do it all over again against the weapon that is Amy Baldwin.
Well, you've just managed to evade Ava, the former French national champion. Now you've got to evade, arguably, the best there is in the women's division. And Amy Baldwin goes over the top of the tilted cube to get the dive. Didn't look a particularly happy landing, but she's up.
Tag made, but as you can see, that Ludi dive went a little bit wrong there, not quite holding onto the mountain ramp, a bit of a slip of the hand, and ended up flat on her back. Fortunately, just like her brother in the open division, both of these guys will get the tag. You don't have to worry about that, but you do have to worry about self-preservation.
Yeah, Kai really was in the wars yesterday. We'll see how much toll that takes on him. As Amy Baldwin starts by the ridge, some real jittery steps there, threatening to go one way, then disappears under the base of the mountain. Remember the tilted cube showing one way then the other, and it looked like really good work through the tilted cube there by the chaser.
Yeah, great flush there. Julie Saru being able to get in between the bars of the tilted cube, put some pressure on Amy, and then look at getting the tag there. This is only half of the game though. We need to make sure she has a strong start, and we got Brittany up fresh on the chaser plate for Anarchy.
Brittany from California originally, based in the Middle East nowadays, sort of Dubai. Lovely work up on the bars, drops down, nearly lands on Julie at the base of the mountain. Now goes underneath the sisters, decides not to turn it into a chase around the outside. Tries to cut off the angle, but that's not quite worked. There's some work to be done by the loading bay, but she's not managed to do it well enough. Really, could Valkyrie be taking a 2-0 lead against the title favourites?
There we go, and a bit of a fumble there by Brittany on the spider, not being able to flush out of the loading bay. It really cost her that. I know the tag was made on the front line by the sisters, but it all went wrong for her by not being able to get inside that loading bay with the right foot being able to plant back down on the ground for a tag attempt.
Ava looking for a bit of redemption, evaded when she was sent out in chase 2. They're sending her back in, goes to the top of the tilted cube, hops down and out, and then tries to make the tag. The referee was about to give the tag there, but it wasn't given, and the chase continues. There's another swipe there. Can she close down that space? Julie Suro trying to get away, just could not quite open up some gap.
There we go, 2 attempts and a successful tag there. Ava being able to get back that composure. You can do some crazy dive attempts, but really you can only do that in the first sort of 10, 12, 13 seconds of the chase. We've got a 20-second chase on our hands. Getting up back off of the floor after a missed attempt like that can really cost the chaser.
Time for Zoe Hopkins. Can Ava Yamani help mount a fight back for the title favourites? They trail by 2 points to 0. Zoe trying to force an opportunity. It's turned to a race around the outside. Is she quick enough to get the tag? She's claiming it, but the chase has to continue. Ava's not acknowledged it. And that goes green. Now it's all going to go down to whether there was contact made under the mountain. Ava, there was not even a trace of recognition.
Yeah, Ava's just absolute stone-faced there. Not giving away the game, not deciding whether or not it was a tag.
10 seconds.
But Zoe, very adamant there was a tag made underneath the mountain, and we are going to go to a disputed tag review on this basis. To be fair though, Dan, that first flush out of the tilted cube, I thought Zoe would have had it. Ava made a massive mistake running by the tilted cube on the open side when Zoe could have dived through. If she'd have just been a little bit more aggressive with that dive, she'd have reached her on that first tag attempt within the first 4 seconds of that match. So the fact that she got back up off the floor, chased her all the way around for a whole lap, and then there's another tag attempt, which we don't know if it's secure or not, but there's another tag attempt later on under the mountain, means there were 2 decent attempts in those 20 seconds. Let's see what the disputed tag review's saying.
Yeah, here we have a decision, and a tag was made, contact was made, and that means that the title favourites remain 2 points behind. Zoe Hopkins getting the job done, had a little bit more time to recover if they could evade here. It's a 3-0 lead at the halfway stage. Who saw this coming?
Athletes ready!
So 2-0 at the moment. Zoe Hopkins looking to make it 3-0, but she's not going to do that. Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, no getting away from Amy, I think. As soon as she's on the quad, she's honing on you, closing down options, and she's willing to dive where a lot of these women are not willing to put their body on the line for those big, scary dives to be able to get through. I don't think Amy has any care in the world with just throwing herself for a dive tag whenever it's necessary.
Athletes ready!
Okay, Julie Lehman back into action. We are going to chase 9 of 16, the second half of the game. Can Amy Baldwin be the catalyst for an Anarchy comeback? Lovely line, using the bars, using the platforms. Turns back in open ground. Julie Lehman ends up straddling the front line. And Amy under the sisters. This could be it. This could be it for Amy Baldwin under the ridge. There's miles between them, and she jumps out of the quad in celebration as Anarchy pick up her first point.
2-1, but a massive win there from Amy, bringing it back, clawing her way back into the game for her team. Julie truly tried her best. I think Julie was our best option to be able to get this closed down, but Amy managed to get the evasion for Anarchy.
Valkyrie turned to Julie Soro again. Into chase 10. Is Amy Baldwin going to be the hero for Anarchy here? Heads off to the tilted cube, does not stop, goes straight under the sisters. Sort of shaping to go to the sisters again and just lets her dive through. Oh, the tag was made. I thought she just stood there watching her flounder around on the floor for a moment, but the tag was made by Julie, and Valkyrie still lead this.
And there we go, closing down that attempt there. Julie Soro not scared to be able to get that dive between the bars, that threaded dive here on the Lazy Boy. Amy thinking, are you really going to go for this? And then there it is, straight face tag. And the surprise and smile on Amy Baldwin's face shows it all.
2-1 to Valkyrie. Still work to do for Anarchy as Jaden DePaulo is on the chaser's plate once again. Oh, right, apparently it may be a dangerous tag. That's just the referee not happy. It could be a yellow card, which, a bit like football, is just kind of a warning. Don't do it again.
10 seconds.
But no cards given, so it's just a little word in the ear of Julie Soro.
2-1 Valkyrie.
Athletes ready!
Jaden DePaulo trying to track down Julie Soro. Julie decides to go over the mountain, Jaden down low. Keeping her eyes on her prey, and she does hunt her down.
Second time on the quad for Jaden here in this match, and she's getting utilized well. We obviously have 5 more chasers left, and we are 1 point down. So let's see what she can get moving for Anarchy, because they're going to need to start getting points on the board.
12 Anarchy evading.
Elizabeth Hopkins into the action of Valkyrie, having taken a 1-0 lead against Volt, only to lose 3-1, and a 2-0 lead against Anarchy. Are they going to see their opponents level once again and potentially turn this one around? Jaden with pace, turns back on herself, goes under the ridge. There's a huge gap between them. Can it be closed down? There's only 5 seconds left, and that gap isn't closing. Jaden, all the time, all the space, all the time in the world, and Anarchy have fought back from 2-0 down to level.
Yeah, Elizabeth there just chasing a car she can't quite get. She's down by the tilted cube right at the beginning and didn't push her out in a way that she could capitalize on it. She just got close to it and already was just tailing, coming in behind Jaden the whole time way. We need to start working on some cuts if we're going to cut down that distance.
Well, once again, Valkyrie have had a lead wiped out. against one of the big teams. But Julie Lehman is standing up in this tournament. She gets the tag, and Valkyrie could yet go back into the lead here.
Yeah, Julie Lehman really standing out as the star player here for Valkyrie. I know Julie Sorrow also doing real well, but Julie Lehman, I think she may be the only answer to what Anarchy have got when it comes to getting evasions and keeping this game as a win.
Well, this is a repeat matchup of Chase 2 when Julie Lehman evaded Ava Yamane in her first chase in Valkyrie colours. Could she do it again? It could win them the game. Julie under the sisters, but Ava's too quick. Followed the same maneuver, executed it quicker, gets the tag, and all of a sudden, Valkyrie might win this.
Yeah, that scramble under the sisters needs to be a little bit smoother. Obviously, she just stumbled away from it to a cube. Wrong footing to be able to get under the sisters and get back out quickly. Ava dropping back down and immediately able to get that tag opportunity there under the sisters. Match point right now.
It is a fresh Viviana Silva who's sent in by Valkyrie. She needs to make this tag or Valkyrie's tournament will be over and they will finish bottom of the group. Gets a little bit stuck there. Ava round the tilted cube, under the mountain, goes low under the mountain. Viviana's turned it into a race outside. Now she tries to cut off the angle. Dives underneath the front line. No tag given. That might be that. That might be that. Evasion given. That's conceded. And Valkyrie have turned it around from 2-0 down. That was harder work than we anticipated, Connor.
Yeah, Valkyrie having one of the toughest jobs on planet Earth right here and getting that result 2-all. And there we go. We're going to go into our sudden death.
No, it's 3-2, my man. That is done. Ava managing to get the tag.
Sorry, smashing out.
Ava got the tag. It is a 3-2 win.
Solid
and that
work.
means that Greg Ball is down on the quad with the victorious Anarchy team.
Well, we're facing the crowd. Thank you very much, Dan. I appreciate that very much. Ladies, well done. That was so close all the way to the end. You came back from trailing, but you managed to pull it through. So firstly, how did it feel to get the evasion out there today?
It felt really good. You know, last comp in France, I choked really bad. So I was like, I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to be like, I'm not nervous. I'm just excited. And I really think all the work I've done and all the support from my team really showed. I'm so grateful for everybody who helped.
Very good. Now, Amy, next up, you're going to be facing an even harder team statistically than that, right? What's the game plan going into that? How do you feel after that performance going into your next matchup?
I feel excited. I think the first game is always the hardest because everyone's nervous and has to get a feel for the quad. So I think we'll just stick to our game plan and play how we play.
All right, well, good luck with the game plan. Thank you very much. Back over to Dan and Connor.
There we go. Anarchy just say that the first game is the hardest. It was looking very, very hard when they were 2-0 down at the halfway stage, but they have rallied superbly to get the win and get the win in regulation time. So Volt and Anarchy both picking up wins in their opening games, and it will be a straight shootout between them in Group A in a couple of games' time to determine who goes through as group winners and which ones will finish in second place. But we now turn our attention to Group B, where Kunoichi are just preparing, I assume they're preparing their entrance rather than what they're actually going to do on the quad, because they do put a lot of effort into that kind of stuff. And they'll be up against Fakaw Women playing their second game. Fakaw beaten in sudden death by Rooftop Queens in their opener.
Now, I know obviously Team Volt are not in this grouping. They were in the last grouping, but we can see Anarchy and Valkyrie both had ex-Volt players down, and that's what it came down to. In the end, it came down to the wire, and what we've got working on in the French National League, these Team Volt players really showing that they can transfer out to international teams, UK Valkyrie, America Anarchy, and still take it home on different teams.
Well, Fakaw, very much a French team. Players from Paris, Toulouse, Saint-Nazaire, all exclusively coming through the academy system. We saw them put up a real fight against Rooftop Queens, but only got done with that horrific spike tag in sudden death, which made it utterly impossible for them to come away with the sudden death win. But what can they do against Kunoichi, a team with a long and storied history in women's world chase tag? They were set up originally by Jess Chan to compete in the open division, in which she has played in various tournaments, that Kunoichi won way back in 2022 in Arlington, Texas, WCT6, the first women's league. Since then, they have been beaten finalists in the Pan American Championship, in the US National Championship, and in the World Championship. In the US Championship and the World Championship here at Les Arènes 2 years ago, where they were beaten by Urban Core Nano.
No Urban Core Nano in this comp. Let's see what they can do, Dan. Got high hopes for Kunoichi here, and I saw in their practice sessions, very organized. They've got some great coaching. They've managed to split up their time well. Everyone looked like they knew what they were doing, working on select routes, nice pattern work, good adaptation, and at the end of the day, phenomenal athleticism. Let's see if Kunoichi can beat this younger team in Fakaw Women.
Well, Kunoichi, the addition of Taylor Carpenter, formerly of the great Apex teams, Apex Nemesis, who for a while dominated this sport, both in the women's and the open division. Times have changed, and Taylor Carpenter is lining up for Kunoichi, and Jess Chan starts as the evader. Joanne Olive, who really did stand out for Fakaw, is the chaser. Jess Chan going up onto the mountain. Gets by the tilter cube, hops up onto the sisters, and Joanne bounces into them. She's got a little bit of space here to work with Jess. That gives her a little bit of time to make a decision. She goes over the sisters, cuts into the open area of the quad, but there's a dive there from Joanne.
Tag made there under the front line. Real close, but what I'd like to point out is Jess is the first person I've seen really in this women's division take the high line and make that mountain jump early on. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of tactics Kunoichi have been working on and how they can bring it under the lights, under the pressure of this World Championship.
Athletes ready!
Can Joanne get more evasions on the board? She was excellent at doing so in their opening game. Turned into a race around the outside. Joanne moves through the mountain very quickly. There's a tag claim, but the chase continues. Caitlin Bergstrom right, trying to get hold of her. She goes through the bars, and that one is given. And credit to Caitlin there, because after the first tag wasn't given, she had to keep on going.
Yeah, and to carry on going and not just rely on the DTR, but manage to secure that second tag shows a little bit of grit there. We have got Caitlin up as an evasion opportunity now for Kunoichi. We're still 0-0 in chase 3 of this set match.
Kali Spataro-Serac, they used her heavily in the opening game. It would appear that she is one of their go-to girls. Caitlin starting by the sisters, drops down to go to the tilted cube. Under the mountain she goes, around by the loading bay, decides over the mountain is the best course of action. Uses those platforms, just about keeps her footing on the poles there. As Kali moves through the loading bay, makes the tag. No, it doesn't, not given by the ref, and that is an evasion. Both refs on this side of the quad in agreement. It's a first point for Kunoichi.
Not given, but an awesome dive then. We've got Jess running around to refuel, it looks like, in between evasion opportunities, but not allowed at this point. Sorry, not given at this point, not received.
It was close, but not close enough. As Fakaw turn to Lucy, their champion national sprinter, goes through the loading bay and gets a very quick tag.
Yeah, again, not slowing down. That athleticism really transferring into the World Chase Tag League. I know a lot of the Fakaw team are training their track and field basics, those fundamentals, and bringing that into play. Obviously, it's a separate identity. Sprinting, we don't have a bunch of metal bars and wood in our way, but we can then transfer that athleticism here to see it being played on the quad.
Jess Chan back in action. So Kunoichi going to their founding member once again. She moves into the tilted cube, spiders away in there, but can't quite make a tag at first, but gets her before she disappears around the sisters.
Yeah, and Lucy again using the high line that Jess used previously, and Jess thinking, okay, cool, now we're on. You got to see how you get down from this mountain and what you can do to keep that speed under the sisters. Leah being put on the chaser plate now for the first time. Let's see what this young athlete has got for Team Fakaw Women.
Well, Fakaw having been beaten sudden death in their opening game, they've got to try and get something from this one if they are going to get out of the group. And Leah Dives through the loading bay, and Jess ain't getting out of the way of that one.
Smooth as butter, Dan, being able to smash her way straight through those set of bars, one set of bars and onto the table and out the other side of those bars, while still looking for the player the whole time. Spotting that tag, securing it, Jess thinking, okay, where is she? Oh, it's too late, I've already been tagged.
Fakaw evading. 1-0 Kunoichi.
First look at Oran Florinda, French member of the team from Lyon in France. She goes through the loading bay. There's a little turnaround from Leo on the mountain, but has she got enough pace to get away from Oran? No, she hasn't. So Oran just reached to her shoulder there as if she took a knock, but doesn't seem to have caused any major problems.
Yeah, Oran closing down on the front line there. Great tag, but still checking out that shoulder. Looks like there might be a bit of an injury worry. Let's see what she can do. I know she's dealt with some previous injuries in her knees, but hopefully those shoulders will keep her nice and healthy to get this evasion opportunity.
Lucie L'Empereur back into action for Fakaw. Oran goes around the front line. Swings around by the ridge using one of the bars there. Lucie can't quite make the ground up and stops and waits, and Oran might be getting her point. There's another desperate dive, and I think she might have shimmied out the way of it. Oran celebrates. Lucie looked like she was claiming it. She wants to call for the DTR. Oran is convinced she shimmied out of the way of that one, though, Connor.
Yeah, fantastic little back pedal there by Oran, stuck by the lazy boy on the front of the quad. It looked like she was spotting when the opportunity was that Team Fakaw would dive through the bars, and Oran has timed that perfectly as far as I'm concerned. I thought it was a missed tag, and that little back step gave her the opportunity to be out of the way of that swipe and a miss.
Well, there's two things here. There's no limit on how many DTRs you can call for, but if you call for one and you are wrong, all you're doing is allowing Oran more time to recover here. So do you just go, you know what, I don't know if I made the tag, but it's probably in our interest just to let it go, because the small chance that I might have made contact and it's obvious enough, and that being shown on the video, is just let them have the point, because otherwise
they're going to get the point anyway, and she's going to have extra energy to possibly get yet again another point with fresh energy after that.
Yeah,
that is what we're worried about now.
It's a real quandary, but they are going for the DTR, so this is really a lot rides on this, because there could have been a tag made, but if it's not obvious on the video, it's not going to be given. Oran will get the point. It'll be 2-0 to Kunoichi, and she'll be a little bit fresher for the next chase. Jess Chan's just come around to this bit of the quad to have a chat with Oran. I don't know if that's a tactics thing or just having a chat.
Team support, good captain, making sure she's in the right headspace, making sure she's ready to attack the next round, whatever the verdict, whether it be a tag and she's got to step off, or in the likely event that it is a miss, she'll have another opportunity for an evasion.
Well, there's a lot riding on this. Here comes our head ref. What is the verdict? It is evasion given. It is 2-0.
Nice. Well done, Oran. Great stuff with that little back pedal there. That helped out, and it wasn't just the distance she was making. She kept herself close to the bars until that last second, and then there's a back pedal to make sure that the tag was a miss.
Athletes ready!
Can Oran make that extra time count? Yoan Oli comes into the action, goes around the tilted cube. Oran doing some stuff down low. Look at this, wow! Basically crawling around in a big old circle, but Yoan was able to get hold of her.
The thing is with Yoan, Dan, is she is rapid, but she is also calm. She is watching you like a hawk the whole time, ready to descend when her moment is right. So there's no shaking her. She is making sure she is looking at you and focused the whole time she's chasing. Let's see what Jess can do to upset that focus right now and get onto the quad to get a tag.
Well, no shaking Joanne, but there was a little bit of shaking on the chaser's plate from Jess Chan as she prepared to get on the quad and track her down. Comes into the center of the quad here, trying to get into the loading bay, but gets a little bit stuck, and Joanne's built up a bit of a gap here. Ghosts around the sisters expertly, swings around the tilted cube, through the mountain, but Jess Chan just about gets a hand on her.
Biding her time, biding her time, biding her time, and I was worried that it wasn't gonna happen for Jess there. Just right at the end, being able to spot that from the descent on the tilted cube, she's seen the double ghost, she's got up the tilted cube, dropped down, and there's a last-ditch effort to get that tag. Joanne almost clutching that evasion there for Team Fakaw.
Well, it's Kali Spataro-Serac in once again. Jess down at the base of the mountain. Now has to get up some speed, but actually the sisters have helped her out because she's got over him and Kali couldn't. Jess turns back around in open ground, but there's no escape there.
Yeah, Kali pinned her down there by the lazy boy. I really like to see Jess smashing out that mount of the sisters. You got to remember, for some of the women's division, especially Jess, these sisters come all the way up to like mid-waist and even higher. So between waist and shoulder, she is able to mount all the way up to the sisters, clear the distance, and keep speeding up. And Kali just couldn't get that adaptation right from the corner.
Well, here we go, as Fakaw try to find a way back into this contest. Under the sisters they both go, as Taylor, a recruit from the old Apex team, makes the dive over the top, and we've seen that move from Apex before.
Seen both of those moves from Apex. They're both tag indexes, both founded by Apex members, or at least at some point. But the first one mounting the tilted cube as a tiger, being able to balance here and choose, okay, cool, I can jump on you from the right or the left. And then the second one, that Ludi dive, or actually not quite a Ludi dive, because she's not grabbing the plates, but being able to get that recovery from a dive tag over the top of the tilted cube.
This is match point for Kunoichi. Taylor sets off at pace around the front line. Oh, lovely maneuver to shake her off. Now by the loading bay. Where does she go from here? There's a dive through there. Not sure the tag was made. Taylor looking over her shoulder. The time is running out, just 3 seconds to go. Does she know how long needs to go? The sisters provide the cover. The celebration from Taylor Carpenter as Kunoichi win their opener by 3 points to 0.
And there it is. You wouldn't expect any less from a former Duchess of Dodge, the Pan Am Van Dam machine. She ran out of Pan Am, but she managed to win the MVP award at that US Pan Am event a few years ago, and she has shown that she has not been slowing down, still keeping in the training, and this training camp has paid off for her. Putting some crazy moves on the quad. Love to see it. Taylor Carpenter taking it home for Kunoichi.
Well, what that means is that we have seen the two favourites in each of the groups, Kunoichi and Anarchy, both win their opening games. Kunoichi more dominant against Fakaw than Anarchy were against Valkyrie. They had to come from 2-0 down to nick that 3-2. It does mean that Fakaw, having lost both their games, will go no further. Valkyrie will go no further, and so we have 2 more group games to come, and they are straight shootouts for top spot, with the losers finishing in second. And we go back to Group A for the final group stage game with Anarchy versus Volt. This is big, and remember, if you top the group, you're going to play second in the other group. It does not mean that the final is definitely going to be somebody from Group A and somebody from Group B. You could get 2 from the same group. The games we're about to see between Anarchy and Volt, and then Kunoichi versus Rooftop Queens, they could be the final in a little while's time if they both end up coming through their respective semi-finals. However, with Anarchy here, the title favourites, they have been under duress once, came from 2-0 down against Valkyrie. But Volt were 1-0 down to Valkyrie themselves and ended up winning it 3-1. And look at this, Leia Marionette coming out with them, former Knight of Flight, winner of the World Championship. Last time we were here in WCT World Championship action. She will be cheering them on and hoping for them to spring an upset. And you said at the start of the day that there is a real chance that Anarchy don't come through and take the title. It could be Volt that do for them.
Yeah, biggest rivals here, Volt, and not only that, seeing Ava on Team Anarchy, previously on Team Volt, might be a bit of an upset there. I don't know how much Team Volt, especially now they've got the backing of all French women, including Leia from Team Nano, possibly having a little bit of pressure for Ava to say, hey, why did you jump away? Why did you go to another team? Why did you join the Americans when you could have been here with us?
Anarchy versus Volt. Chase 1. Volt evading.
Athletes ready!
Well, it's going to be Berlin Lesage against Eva Yamani in our opener. As Volt look to get a lead-off point. And it's a race under the mountain. Ava dives through the loading bay. Could Ava Yamani be evaded again here this afternoon? There's only 5 seconds left, and there's a big gap to cut. She goes through the tilted cube, reaches out, does not make contact, and Ava Yamani is frustrated again.
And I think that is exactly it, Dan. I think Ava's head wasn't quite in the game. We saw there was an amazing tag opportunity there underneath the mountain. She just couldn't quite commit to when there was an opportunity to dive and tag for her. And then we see here at the end, Feline absolutely gassed that she got that first evasion in against Anarchy.
Well, it is Jaden DePaolo who's back into it. She said she felt like she choked earlier on. She really did give Feline a shove there.
That was a big shove, but then there was also I am sorry afterwards. But the aggression in that tag meant she must have really wanted it. Close down the evasion opportunity, get Anarchy back in the hot seat, and now we've got Jaden stepping into the ridge for the start of her chase and the opportunity for her to possibly even the score.
Marior comes into the action from Nancy here in France. Jaden DePaolo swinging around the tilted cube. It's a race across through the front line, and those big strides of Marior just eating up that ground.
Yeah, open ground. We've got a hard time when you cut across the center of the quad. There is no cover there. You want to make sure there is at least some obstacles, some options to be able to hide behind and skirt your way around. If you do not have that at any given point, you need to worry that someone is gaining ground on you for that tag.
Well, if Anarchy are going to do this, once again, they're going to have to do it the hard way. They train, just as they did in their opening game. Marior just sort of negotiating her way around the sisters as Brittany goes over the front line and tries to work an opening, crafting an opportunity. She does move through the ridge very quickly, but Marior's not there. Over the sisters she goes, looks over her shoulder. Brittany's not there. Brittany can't get the tag, and Brittany Doran is evaded. Marior, it really is hard work for this Anarchy team. They find themselves 2-0 down again.
To come in as the favourites and to have dominated in the WCT US Championship, it is hard work to see these superstars get absolutely wrecked here in France, and I can only put it down to the home ground support that Volt have.
Well, look, they were 2-0 down in their opener and they managed to turn things around. They go to Amy Baldwin, who's kind of the catalyst for that comeback in their opening game. Can she do so again? She does craft the second opportunity and she makes the tag by the ridge.
We're going to want to start to see some back-to-back evasions if we want to catch up to that 2-0 lead in the 6th chase of the 16 chase matchup.
10 seconds.
The vibes are very different in the teams. I see Anarchy looking very nervous, Volt with big smiles on their faces.
Athletes ready.
Clémence Benoit is the choice for Volt as they look to protect their 2-0 lead. But it's very difficult to protect a lead when you're trying to track down Amy Baldwin. But that's excellent work from Clémence. Has she got the pace to get there? I'm not sure she does. She goes down low. It's a route she's used before, Amy Baldwin, to get under the mountain. Shaped one way, then the other, and the tag comes through by the tilted cube. And that was late in the chase.
Super close there. Amy hot on her... Sorry, Clémence really hot on Amy's heels, being able to get that distance there, but couldn't quite make it. This little interaction here at the tilted cube tells you everything you need to know. Amy didn't have an answer. She just carried on stepping backwards. She should have escaped there once the obstacle was infiltrated.
Athletes ready.
Jaden once again. They really are cycling through Jaden and Brittany and Ava quite a lot in this one, as well as Amy, of course. But that tag proves why. Jaden DePaolo getting it done, and she has a chance now to try and cut the gap. We're approaching the halfway point here. This will be chase 8 coming up. They suffer a 2-point deficit.
10 seconds.
Chase 8, Anarchy evading 2-0 Volt.
Athletes ready.
Maëlys Blasco, former champion of the world. Reigning champion of the world, effectively. And she goes under the mountain. She's backing out of that, Jaden, but wasn't able to back out quickly enough.
Even before the mountain, what a crazy flush there by Mario, being able to get through the tilted cube so quickly on that corner. Looked like it wasn't even there. She just shape-shifted her way through the bars, and then being able to speed up and catch that tag then under the mountain, due to the speed that had been gained at the tilted cube earlier.
Well, Mylise just checking from our ref there to make sure she was all right. Might have taken a little knock to the head, but she seems okay. She's going to be okay enough to get out of the way of Amy Baldwin. The Australian very quickly through the ridge, claiming the tag, but has to carry on. It wasn't obvious. It may be on a DTR if we go that far. We may not need to. Amy just getting stuck there, and then a change of plan, a change of direction, another tag, and that's right in front of the ref. He gave it, and he has given it. I thought he was changing his mind. Well, definitely done now, because Mylise went out of the quad.
And Amy putting up an old 3. She's talking to the ref, but she's saying, look, I tagged her 3 times, buddy. Are we got our eyes on this? You called the tag. Is she not stopping for whatever reason? What's Mylise's game? She must have felt one of these. That's what Amy must be thinking.
Well, 3 potential tags and Mylise going out the quad. That is tagging this in one respect. We're just not sure which one. Amy Baldwin. They have so much work to do, Anarchy. Amy Baldwin may be the main one to do it. Andrea Kwesny is a tagging machine, particularly under pressure. In high-profile games, there's a dive through the ridge. It does not make contact. Amy's got 5 more seconds to last. Can she do it? Can she do it? I don't think she can. No, she can't. It is still 2-0 Volt, and time is running out for Anarchy in this one.
I think Amy's just coming in there, even though she had a little bit of time there to recover. She just ran out of energy around the front line. Coming around that front line there, she looked like she didn't have an answer for the sisters, so she cut into the center, and that slowed her down too much. Andrea catching her there on the inside.
Well, first look at Bailey Gray from Indiana, who comes in for Anarchy, trying something different. They really need something different from what has gone before in this contest, because they are yet to register a point and they cannot afford to go 3-0 down. There is no coming back from that, surely. Bailey trying to get hold of Andrea. Andrea by the tilted cue. Goes away, there's a reach over the bars. I don't think it made contact, and that is 3-0. And surely from this position, Volt aren't going to let the lead slip.
3-0, and not only that, down, we've got the next evasion could win the match for Volt. It is match point, and Andrea could get it done for Volt, and Anarchy have had no answer to the absolute dominant performance here of Team Volt.
Andrea Kwesny by the ridge. Ava Yamani must come in and tag, and then go on an absolute spree to get this back level. The 2 French girls facing off, and Ava Yamani does manage to get the tag. That is one bit done, but there is so much more work to do, because Ava Yamani must now produce a hat-trick, 3 consecutive evasions, or it is Volt who will top the group, and Anarchy will only go through to the semis in 2nd place.
And 3 consecutive evasions against her previous teammates who know her game down. This is going to be a hard uphill battle for her.
Can Ava Yamani get the first? She can only break it down chase by chase. Looked like there might have been an option there to make the tag, but it wasn't forthcoming as Berlin tries to get it done. She reaches out and makes the tag, and Volt have won it. And they have not just won it, they have won it 3-0. Many people's favourites for the title, Anarchy, are convincingly beaten by the French team here in Henri-Courcouronnes. You said it before we started, Connor. There was a chance this could happen. They're not knocked out. They're through to the semi-finals, Anarchy. But if they meet again, that cannot go the same way.
Yeah, they're going to have to revise what happened here today, figure out how they can utilize their players a bit better. I'm not sure why we're off a game. As I said, right from the get-go, Ava being one of their star players and having to go up against her previous roster in Team Volt. Maybe that's getting in her head. We'll see what they can do to have an answer for them next time they meet.
Well, look, let's show you the table then, because this is Group A done and dusted. And it means that Volt top the group with 2 wins out of 2, so that's 6 points. Oh, there we go. Volt winning their games by 3-1 and 3-0. Anarchy did beat Valkyrie 3-2, but the standings mean that Volt are the group winners. Anarchy go through in 2nd place, and then Valkyrie are eliminated, as you see there. So what it means with this final group game in Group B, Kunoichi versus Rooftop Queens, if Kunoichi top the group, they will play Anarchy, and Rooftop Queens would play Volt. Obviously, if the result is the other way around, then it'll be the other matchups in the semi-finals. Rooftop Queens went out there and got the job done in sudden death against Fakaw. Kunoichi in their opener beat Fakaw 3-0, and just based on those results, Connor, you would think that Kunoichi are in a much stronger position for this one. But strange things happen in this sport, and strange things have happened this weekend so far.
Yeah, Kunoichi here, definitely the favourites to win. We've got team captain, or sorry, team coach Cozy in the back, checking out a couple of fan high fives there. Kunoichi, a little bit of, oh.
Well, let's get it on then. The group stage is coming to a conclusion. This is the final game in Group B, and just like in Group A, it is two teams who have won their opener, so it is to determine who goes through to the semis as the group winner. Kunoichi know that if they win the group, they will play Anarchy, who were the title favourites, but has that changed over what we've seen so far this afternoon? Do people now believe that Volta are a better bet? Do they believe that Kunoichi are going to end their title drought, having won the first ever Women's League years ago, and then only ever reached finals since then?
They've got to get through those Rooftop Queens first.
They do, right, and we start with Vera against Taylor. Taylor underneath the ridge. Sets off around the front line, but there's a dive through there, and Vera manages to make contact to keep the score at 0-0 after the first chase.
Closing that down, she's got to be happy with that result there, Dan. Vera setting up right at the back of the quad, putting a bit of distance between her and the chaser plate. And for the first time seeing Amy from Kunoichi, not used in the last matchup. Let's see what she can do on the chaser plate. First chase for her, the pressure's on, the lights are up. Let's see how Amy performs.
Yeah, Amy Dominguez, aka Domino. Notable with the headscarf, and notable with how quick that was.
Yeah, rapid. There's a nice little tag there. Looks like it might have even been a spike, sub 5 seconds. A little bit of showboating to get ready, and a strange starting position here by Domino, setting up by the back of the sisters.
10 seconds.
Chase 3, Kunoichi evading. 0-all.
Roos into the action. Roos win. Only turned up quite late this week, so I think missed out on the practice sessions that some of the players had a few days ago here on the quad when it was first set up. Domino receiving some instruction from her team. It was rather helpfully, go. And she appears to have done that as she heads off to the tilted cube. There's only a couple of seconds left, and there's nothing coming from Roos. There's nothing coming from... Oh, wow, got away with that. Got away with that. The lights went green. The 20 seconds are up. She lost her footing and her foot hit the concrete, but that was only after the evasion was complete.
Very close one there by Domino. Obviously, she played the tilted cube game real well, being able to spot her opponent getting into the tilted cube and deciding when to break away, but the breakaway was luckily on the 20 seconds before the foot hit the concrete.
Delight for Jess Chan and Kunoichi as Noor comes in for Rooftop Queens, possibly the standout player that they had in the opening matchup, where they did get that sudden death win. She moves to the center of the quad after that failed attempt in the opening few seconds. Can she get another attempt? That's superb work from Domino to go under the front line and now under the mountain. Domino, Amy Dominguez, onto the sisters. It is back-to-back points, and look at the reaction from Noor. She is furious. She couldn't get that tag.
2 for 2, and great change, not just of direction, but of her predictability. She is choosing routes that are very unorthodox here, being able to cut even into the center of the quad before making it around the back of the tilted cube for another win by the sisters.
Well, in comes Sage. Here's a stat for you. Domino had only ever registered 2 evasions in proper chase tag competition. She's just gone back to double her tally in the space of about 3 minutes, but she's not going to make it 3 in a row. But she's done some damage already in this one.
Yeah, that damage will be felt here by Rooftop Queens, and specifically by Sage, who's been used quite a lot already in this competition, in this grouping. So we'll see what Sage can do to keep that energy high and make some good choices now in the next 20 seconds to get the evasion opportunity.
Number 12 is Caitlin Bergstrom Wright. CBW coming into the action, goes up onto the platform, slams into the tilted cube. She's in close attendance from Sage. Has she got the pace to get there? The dive comes in, and the tag. It was a hesitant call from the ref. He sort of talked himself into it by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think he was very sure for a quick second, and then he saw the women carry on run and decided, oh, maybe I was wrong, and then he decided he was right. Johan just wiping down the chase play there, our head ref, and we now have Caitlin in the hot seat for Kunoichi.
Well, they managed to beat Fakaw by 3 points to 0. They've already got a 2-0 lead here. We're only 6 chases in as Caitlin up onto the sisters, drops down as Vera tries to get hold of her, and, well, she hit. That was with the feet, right? There's contact with the feet. That's not a tag. You've got to do it with the hands. And that was an attempt with the hand. That didn't work. Caitlin Bergstrom right. She didn't know. Is it? Can't be another foot tag. Can't be another foot tag. It isn't. I don't think Caitlin Bergstrom right knew it was feet that made contact. She thought she'd been tagged. Then nothing happened. She carried on. She was quite right to do so. She's made it 3-0.
Took that pause, but there it is, and it's 3-0. And we saw even that little hesitation by Vera when there was a standoff on top of the mountain. Looked a little bit like yips to me, Dan.
Well, she's pointing at her feet. I'm not sure she's aware of the rules. She said, I got her, but she's pointing to her feet. That does not count.
Contact is not a tag.
Nor into the action once again. Caitlin Bergstrom right. Does not make it 4-0, but we are at the halfway stage, and Kunoichi are 3-0 up and cruising through this one by the looks of it.
Yeah, no, making sure she's got that conversion. We got Rooftop Queens gym owner, Mr. Red One, giving some advice there on the sidelines. Noor getting ahead in the game. She's down by the ridge. Let's see if Jess has got a good answer to this ridge problem that Noor is putting in front of her.
Jess Chan into the action. Can they top this group dominantly? 3-0 in their opener, 3-0 at the moment in this one. It could be an even bigger win. The dive comes in, but it does not make contact. Noor sets off around the front line. Jess getting up on those front line platforms and then uses them to get to the sisters and make the tag. She bounces off the boundary board and she hits her back. I think she's okay, but she was ricocheting around there like a pinball.
Yeah, absolute bouncy ball that is Jess Chan. Really impressed here with Jess's high line strides, not worrying about the sisters at all, keeping her eyes on her opponent. And there's a full bounce back from border to back on the tilted cube. Hope Jess can recover from that one.
Almost like the slow motion knockouts at the end of a fight of Street Fighter 2. Jess Chan now. Goes by the front line, and there seemed like there might have been an opportunity, but it was not taken. And Jess, like lightning, moving to the safety of the tilted cube, then to the loading bay, now under the ridge, and that gap is not cutting down. She goes under the front line, there's a slip there, and Jess Chan sticks another point on the board, and Kunoichi are romping home in Group B.
First time we've seen that 4 evasions on the board, and not just 4 evasions, Dan, it hasn't even been close. We got 4-0 up on Kunoichi here, and this does mean if Jess can pull it out of the bag and get one more evasion, they win. But to be fair, even if she gets tagged, they are well in good standing to take this home.
Yeah, this is done, surely. Vera comes in for Rooftop Queens. They know they're going to progress from this group, but they've been given a bit of a lesson about what it's going to take to win this title by Kunoichi. The tag is made. Jess Chan won't win it right now, but Rooftop Queens, it is still match point Kunoichi. A tag on Vera here will seal a 4-0 win with 4 chasers left to go. And they turn to Oran Florinda, Kunoichi, to wrap this up. First time she's been on the quad in this match. Maybe it's going to be the last time she needs to be on the quad in it. Into the centre of the quad. Vera hopping about on the sisters. Oran gets involved. She's not far behind. She uses those platforms well. She makes the tag, and that is that. It is done and dusted. Group B is all sorted out. And it is so very different from Group A. We said in Group A that Anarchy were the favourites, but Volt would be a problem. Volt, in the end, have won it, and won it very well. Kunoichi have been unstoppable in this Group B, Connor.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard battle when these guys face off each other against in the semi-finals. But that match there, you've got to give it to Rooftop Queens on a roster of 4 to still send everyone out there and put it on the line to try and fight the uphill battle. They were always going to be on the hardest job to be able to get that done today. So Kunoichi, very dominant play, like I say, very organized in their practice regimen. They've got good training camps, they've got a good international roster, and they match their skill sets real well up against other players.
Well, look, it is a 3-0 win for Kunoichi against Fakaw, a 4-0 win against Rooftop Queens. They have dominated this group, and they are on the quad with Greg Ball. Let's get to him right now.
Thank you very much, Dan. While I'm here with Kunoichi, you've just topped your group, and you'll be progressing through to the semi-finals. Firstly, Jess, how are you feeling getting that ovation at the end over there?
I feel so good. Obviously, there's a lot of nerves going into this, so you just want to do what you've been training to do, you know, and just show everyone what you got.
For sure, thank you very much. Now, Taylor, next question's for you, right? So obviously, coming from previous Apex team, you're going to be playing another US team up next. How are you feeling about going up against Anarchy?
I feel great. I mean, we've beat him before, so we can do it again.
Very nice, very humble, I like it. Any other words from the team here to the home crowd in France?
Say what?
Obviously, you're in front of a French crowd right now. A lot of love, a lot of hate. That's probably a question for you, though, Rain, being the only French member on the team.
Do I answer in English or in French?
French.
What's the question?
How are you?
Yeah, merci d'être là pour le soutien. Moi, je suis dans une équipe américaine, donc je sais que peut-être certains Français vont pas être là pour mon équipe, à part mes parents, la famille, le support. Mais
We love croissants.
we love pain au chocolat.
We've been eating croissants all week.
That's how you win. But they don't
And
go to the bakery one, the good one.
It doesn't matter what country you're from. We're all here because we love this sport. And we all played this game when we were kids, so let's have fun, guys.
Well, thank you very much. A very excited team. Get ready for your next matchup. We've got a bit of time before that happens. And to anyone here in the crowd or watching back home, follow that little QR code on the front of the screen right now and set up your own fan card. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next matchup.
Disgustingly wholesome from Jess Chan and the Kunoichi team. They're just eating croissants and having a lovely time because they love the sport. No, they're not. They're here to be world champions for the first time, and they have got a very, very good chance of doing so. Let's show you the confirmed standings for both groups at the end of the group stage, because Kunoichi's dominance has put them top of Group B. Let's show you Group A first, shall we? Because that was the first one to be set up, and it did not pan out exactly as we thought. Because Volt started off beating Valkyrie. Okay, we expected that. Anarchy found themselves 2-0 down to Valkyrie before coming back to win it, and we thought, well, maybe that just shows their quality and their ability to battle through adversity. But then the big game, Anarchy Volt, a 3-0 victory for Volt, means that Volt top the group and take the, in theory, preferential semi-final, because they will now take on the second place in Group B. So we will show you that. And it's a group that was dominated by Kunoichi. Rooftop Queens do manage to come through because they got that sudden death victory against Fakaw. So it is going to be Rooftop Queens versus Volt. That'll be our opening semi-final, as you see the picture of the trophy they're all fighting for. And then Kunoichi versus Anarchy. A lot of people, Connor, would have expected that would be the final. But one of them is going out in the semis.
Yeah, to set it up like this in the groups, they both come through, and it'll be really interesting to see who ends up in this final. Obviously, before the final, we have that third place playoff, so we'll see who gets that runner-up position, but someone's getting knocked out. These semi-finals are going to be brutal, especially this first one. I think Rooftop Queens have got a big battle ahead of them to try and take on the very dominant Volt today.
Yeah, well, look, Rooftop Queens, obviously the massive underdogs against Volt, but Kunoichi Anarchy, that's where we'll really find out how good Kunoichi are. They have breezed through their group, but now they go up against the US champions. These players have to be given a few minutes just to rest and recuperate. The next match is going to be in less than 4 minutes. You can see the countdown. It'll be Volt versus Rooftop Queens, so stay with us, because in just under 4 minutes, the semi-finals will get underway with the French team Volt against Rooftop Queens, based in the Netherlands.
Rooftop Queens. Et ensuite, on aura un match 100% américain. Kunoichi face à Anarchy. Ça promet, il y a du niveau. On est déjà au World Chase Tag 7. Par applaudissement, qui a déjà joué au Chase Tag? Ok, c'est pas mal. Ça veut dire qu'il y en a plein qui n'ont jamais essayé. Mais voilà, c'est le jeu du chat et de la souris. Vous pouvez jouer dans votre jardin avec vos enfants. C'est de tout âge, c'est ouvert à tout le monde. Bien entendu, la structure ici présente, elle prend de la place, donc c'est pas pour tout le monde. Donc voilà, la soirée elle va être encore un peu longue. Si vous n'avez pas de place pour ce soir, je pense qu'il reste encore des places. Donc si ça vous plaît vraiment et que vous voulez venir ce soir, c'est possible, mais je pense que la salle elle sera vraiment blindée. Donc voilà, faites vite. Je ne sais pas combien de temps j'ai, mais voilà. On va enchaîner. Ok, il me reste 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Et je vais improviser un truc. Qui veut faire une chase avec moi? Allez, parcours 59, viens. Ah, c'est trop tard. Alors, faut savoir que je jouais à l'époque. Maintenant, je suis retraité. Eh, dépêche-toi parce qu'on a que 2 minutes maintenant. Eh, tu vas prendre la position de chaser. Allez. Est-ce que vous pensez qu'il peut me toucher ou pas? Aïe, aïe, je suis pas entraîné. Ok, je pose le micro. Derek, tu peux me remplacer 2 minutes?
Ok. Allez, c'est parti. On va voir ce que ça va donner. Encouragez, hein. Pour ceux qui sont avec Parcours 59. Ok. Et pour ceux qui sont avec Nabil. Ok. Athlete ready. Go. Allez, c'est parti, on encourage, on encourage. Allez, 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 allez. C'est pas mal, c'est pas mal. La position, il change de direction, il accélère, c'est parti. Bon, pour ceux qui étaient pour Parcours 59, on applaudit.
Ah, ils sont devenus trop forts. Bon, je crois que c'est le moment pour moi de reprendre l'entraînement. J'ai couru 10 secondes, je suis essoufflé. Ok, vous êtes toujours avec moi? Ok, dans quelques instants, le premier match de cette demi-finale, Volt versus Rooftop Queens. On enchaîne tout de suite. Merci à vous. Un petit rappel, avec vos billets Watchistag, vous avez moins 10% chez nos partenaires Indiana et Italian Trattoria, pardon. Donc n'hésitez pas à aller manger chez eux. Moi, je vais souvent manger. Je vais souvent manger là-bas. Donc c'est très bon, allez-y. Et dites que vous venez de la part de Nabil, peut-être que vous aurez 15%, je sais pas. On verra bien. Ok, j'ai encore un peu de temps. Ok, ce soir, c'est un salto. Est-ce que vous voulez que je fasse un salto? Vous m'en demandez beaucoup quand même. Ok.
Okay, we are nearly ready to go. We can see from our vantage point that Rooftop Queens are in the corridor, ready to come out for the start of the semi-finals at this year's World Championship in the women's division. The crowd being entertained by a sort of pseudo-MC who lost his hat while doing a somersault. But that is just a little prelude to what we're about to see, because we kick things off with Volt, the French team who are looking to move through to the final. It will be a huge surprise if Rooftop Queens can overhaul them, because Volt so far have looked pretty imperious. A 3-1 come from behind victory against Valkyrie, and then a 3-0 win against the title favourites Anarchy. Have they shifted people's opinions? Andrea Kwesny has evaded in both of their matches so far. Mylise Blasco, a world champion winner herself 2 years ago here with Urban Core Nano, has picked up a couple of evasions. But every member of the team has played their part so far, Connor.
Yeah, an absolute dominant team. There is not a weak player on their roster, and they have the 5-women roster for Volt. But here we have Rooftop Queens with an even smaller roster of 4 members. Sage leading the team real well here, playing the calls, but really the standout player here is Nur, coming in at 2 evasions. That's the most evasions one player has got out of this bunch of women. Let's see what happens when the Rooftop Queens come up against Volt in this, the World Championship Women's Division.
Yeah, Rooftop Queens getting that sudden death victory over Fakaw. Both evasions they have come from Nur, the girl with the glitter in her hair and a sparkling World Championship debut. They're based in the Netherlands. They have Sage, who's joined from Dexterity over in the States. We're going to do the rock, paper, scissors here to determine who gets to chase and evade first. And rock beats scissors. So Noor not particularly happy about that one, it would appear. And it means that Volt have the advantage of evading first. They're just going to swap plays. You've got a red team and a blue team, and it's all determined by who's evading first. How big an advantage is that, Connor, to be evading first? His first chance to get points on the board, obviously.
Yep, well, we've obviously only got 16 chases total, so having an early opportunity for an evasion is important. But even more than that, if you are having the first opportunity to evade, it means you're coming in completely fresh. You don't have to do the work to tag. Rooftop Queens now losing the rock, paper, scissors means that they've got to first get a tag before they get an opportunity to evade, which is obviously going to tire out their player before the conversion and the opportunity to evade.
Well, Rooftop Queens are going to turn to Roos in this opener as she sets off trying to get hold of Berlin, new recruit to this Volt team. Under the sisters, Berlin goes, just waits there. There's a crawl from Roos, and now it's turned into a race around the outside, and Roos Wint has to run like the wind, but she just pulls out of that one and decides to try and find another opportunity. She's not going to get one. She isn't going to get one. It's the perfect start for Volt to go 1-0 up.
Yep. To disengage and to re-engage is important, but you need to get that re-engagement after you've cut back to the center to find a new game plan. Roos really needed to hunt down Berlin and make up that distance to put a little bit more pressure on Berlin. She has now got one evasion on the board for Volt. Let's see what she's going to do with it now.
Vera into the action. Been heavily used by this Rooftop Queens team, but they're having to use all of them pretty much. Some of them more than others, but with only 4 players, it's a heavy workload. This is their 3rd game in a short time. And Berlin shimmying and shaking. She's managed. Oh no, she didn't manage to get away. Swing around the bar from Vera, made contact.
Yeah, and although it looks like there's a fair amount of cover here on the Lazy Boy, we've got those bars that Vera knows as well as Berlin. Really, it only takes one small step that's wrong for the chaser to be able to make their opportunity and get that tag there by the Lazy Boy.
1-0 Volt.
So Vera stays on and Clémence Benoit comes in. Clémence, the only one of this Volt team yet to have an evasion, but she has made some significant tags. Just, oh, look at that. Threatening to go into the loading bay, not actually going there, forcing the decision for your evader. Is that what's happened there, Connor?
Yeah, great little bit of micro herding, being able to put a foot inside the loading bay. It looks like she's going to spider. It's going to flush out Vera to the outside of the loading bay, and that is what gives her the opportunity in that nice open ground between the loading bay and the ridge to get the tag.
0 Volt.
Athletes ready!
Sage goes under the front line. Clémence sets off to the loading bay. Can she get her first evasion of this year's World Championship? No, she can't. She pulls up because contact was made at the base of the mountain.
Yeah, and that little spider maneuver that Sage is throwing underneath at the loading bay to be able to step between the corner of those bars and get her foot back onto the floor allows her to accelerate both left if that was the case, and she managed to get the tag there because she did it so quickly, or cut back to the right depending on which way the evader is choosing to go.
Volt.
Athletes ready!
Andrea comes into the action for the former French national champions. Goes underneath the front line as Sage hops off to the sisters to go to the safety of the tilted cube. How safe is it? No real committed effort there. Andrea's still waiting. There's 7 seconds left, and she had to make a move there. And she was trying to force an opportunity, sensed that was the one, and made it work.
Yeah, the pressure was there. Definitely Andrea's doing well to get through the tilted cube, but she had a dive opportunity there. She could have done that Viper where you slide through the tilted cube to get that tag. Didn't make that happen, and then managed to catch up later on for that, I'd say, the last opportunity she had really on the clock.
Sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. You're better off waiting a few seconds if you think you'll get a better chance. Doesn't always work like that. How many chances will Vera get? That's a chance, and she made a move. It hasn't worked out. There's still time to recover. Half the time is gone. There was another chance. The tag is given by the ref here. Andrea looking a bit confused, but seems to have accepted it.
Tag secured. Andrea has taken the decision, and Vera is happy with that. It gives her a few extra seconds for recovery. She knows she doesn't have to chase again, and then now she has the opportunity for that evasion, and they are going to need it. They are still 1-0 down. Let's see what Vera can do in the evader seat.
Well, Clémence comes in. Just as she did earlier on, she managed to tag Vera then. Can she do so again? Up onto the front line, makes her turn back, and she hadn't committed, so she was able to turn and get the tag in open ground.
Yeah, I think dropping the shoulder or even getting further out towards the border would have helped Vera get that sprint across the front line. While we need to get some speed, we also need to be further away from the front line to make sure the reach cannot be reached out and get that tag there from a high position.
Athletes ready!
Sage once again picked by Rooftop Queens. Clemence still searching for a first evasion of this year's tournament. It's not going to come now either because the tag is made. We're halfway through this one. It remains 1-0 to Volt. The French team, as things stand, are going through to the final.
Obviously, Sage being overutilized here, but they don't really have the choice. If I had 6 players to choose from, Dan, I'd obviously cycle around a few different players as we go. But Vera Sage, we have really got to be worried about the endurance level of these athletes here.
Well, their top evader, Noor, yet to be used in this one. And there's a dive through the tilted cube. It was completely red there. Maëlys Blasco, former world champion, getting it done, stays on the quad.
She knew where she was going immediately. As soon as she hit that high line, look at Maëlys, she's like not even looking at Sage anymore. She's looking at the dive through the tilted cube because she knows where she's going to descend from that high line route.
Well, here comes Noor, finally, into chase 10. Noor into the loading bay, scrambles through and gets the tag. Maëlys can't get away, and this is the opportunity that Rooftop Queens had been hoping for. Their top evader so far on the quad, looking to level the match as we're in the second half of this game.
Not only that, she's just tagged one of the better taggers for Team Volt. So now Maëlys has got a chance to recover, but that gives Noor a chance to get away from another player.
And this is a 5th chase for Clemence Benoit. They're sending her in again. Is there going to be any fatigue against the pretty fresh Noor? Can Rooftop Queens manage to do the unthinkable? Not on this occasion. The tag is made by the Ridge. Good work by Clemence.
Yeah, I didn't think she'd get away there. I thought Clemence would get to her on the front line, and she managed to make it all the way around by the ridge before the tag was made. Great reach there. Noor not able to use that fresh energy to any advantage. Rooftop Queens still down a point. They're going to need to start making some moves soon.
It is only 1 point that separates them, though. This isn't a breeze for Volt, not at the minute. Could they put some gloss on the scoreline? Because Sage is back in action here, and Clemence is still desperate to get that first evasion of the tournament. She drops into the tilted cube, now goes over the sisters. The crowd are chanting for the French team to pull further away. Now to the loading bay. Clemence Benoit under the ridge, and she has got her evasion. Clemence Benoit puts Volt 2-0 up, and on the verge of the final here in Auvry.
There's the result we want. Look, Volt are dominating this match, and this will make for an even more exciting final. Clemence getting that second evasion there for the team. It is now match point, which means she has the opportunity to evade once more, and they have sent in Noor for Rooftop Queens.
It's do or die for Noor. She must tag and then evade a couple of times. Clemence Benoit, can she go back to back? No, she cannot, but she has already put her team on the brink of reaching the final. Volt, the former French champions, have an opportunity here to be the first team through to the final.
And on chase 14, Noor is going to have to really pull out the big guns to make something happen. And it is going to be a hard task against Maëlys for Team Volt.
Maëlys Blasco has been here and done it before. She's a world champion in the past. Can she get the tag to secure her team, her new team, a spot in the world final and try to win it with Volt? Into the loading bay. Noor sets off around the front line. A dive comes through by the open ground, and a stamp of frustration. And Rooftop Queens go out in the semis, and Volt from right here in France are the first team through to the final. And Maëlys Blasco has a chance to go back to back. She won it with Urban Core. Can she win it with Volt? Look at the celebrations from the French team. We have our first finalists, and it is the French.
Fantastic work there, Dan. We're seeing some crazy movements there, and to see Volt pull it through, and not just with one player, they have got a star-studded roster here. Rooftop Queens, bless them. 4 team members, never really stood a chance. Really hard to make that happen. I was expecting Nur to at least get one evasion to try and get the equalizer early on in the match, but Volt running away with the score. That 2-0 win puts them in great standings, not just on the win, but also on getting that evasion difference.
Well, you are going to see Rooftop Queens again in the 3rd, 4th playoff. They will play whoever is defeated here in the 2nd semi-final. Anarchy came here with some big billing. They were tipped as the favourites for the title. They have a full roster of 6 players with a mix of experience, success, and arguably the best female chase tagger on the planet in Amy Baldwin. But things have not quite gone according to plan. They must beat this team, Kunoichi, who have blasted through Group B. And then they're going to have to beat Volt, who beat them 3-0 in the group stages. So far, Kunoichi have come through their games without conceding a single evasion and registering 7 themselves. Caitlin Bergstrom-White with a couple, Domino with a couple, and then 1 each for Taylor, Jess and Oran. It looks like they are ready to win their first major title since they very first started and won the first Women's League event, Connor.
Yeah, Kunoichi looking strong as ever. Obviously, they've still got to go up against Anarchy in these semi-finals, so they'll find out what they're made of here. But if they can do this, I'm very confident they will show up in a big way for that final event. But to be fair, I don't have any predictions when it comes down to these two. I think they're very evenly pegged, and we'll see which team comes out on top in this, the semi-finals of World Chase Tag World Championship for the 7th time.
Well, we are ready to go just about. Just a final few checks from the referee, and then we'll be doing the rock, paper, scissors. Who are they sending up? Looks like Oran, and he's going to be the team captain, Dar, who can't get on the chaser's plate without assistance because she smashed up her leg earlier on this week. But she is going to do the rock, paper, scissors. Her hands still work, that's fine. Ooh, it's going
savage.
There we go. And Dara, maybe, despite being in some serious problems, she might have given her team a heads up.
She does what she can.
Well, she's managed to win that one. And so it means that Anarchy do have the advantage of evading first. So they're going to swap sides and get ready for this one. So far, Anarchy have relied heavily on Ava, Jaden and Amy Baldwin. They are the players who've managed to get evasions. We have seen very little of Bailey Gray. We haven't seen anything of Alison Lind, who was a late call-up for Dara, who picked up that injury. And when we have seen Brittany Durant, it's not gone particularly well. She's been evaded a couple of times. So you can expect them to look to Amy, Jaden and Ava. However, is that going to be enough against a well-rounded Kunoichi team who have all performed to a good standard?
Versus Anarchy, chase 1. Anarchy evading.
Athletes ready!
And it is Ava who starts off for Anarchy with Jess Chan, team captain, founder of the team for Kunoichi. Moving on to the tilted cube, and then she tried to move it, and she could not make the tag. Or could she? She might have claimed it, but she knows she needs to carry on. Gets a little stuck in the ridge. Ava Yamani trying to get onto the ridge, and did she make the wrong decision there, Connor?
Ava, just a little bit of panic. I would have stayed behind the loading bay at this stage, but Jess was hot on her tail the whole way. It looked like a near miss right at the beginning, and that's gotten at the head of Ava. That pressure is right there, and you can see that is a rookie mistake to run back exactly where Jess hadn't fully got inside the loading bay. She's ready to get that tag out there in the open.
Well, there's Jaden DePaolo who comes in. Jess had to expend a lot of energy in that opening chase to try and get the job done, but she did get it done. However, energy is not in short supply with this girl. Moving back and forth around the tilted cube. Jaden can't get through there. And now the loading bay. Over to the ridge. No, turns back on herself. And under the mountain, but the tag is made just in time.
Very close chase there, Dan. And we're seeing Jess use really good stutter steps to try and put off her opponent. She was so close, but you could see right by the end, very tired. It looked like that cardio started to take a hit, and it might be from all the dives in the previous chase where she was diving and missing, and it really gassed her out to not be able to secure the evasion for Kunoichi.
And some big, deep gulps of air being taken by Jaden De Paula by the ridge at the start of this one. Oran Florinda comes into it, racing around the outside. There's some work down low, but she's not able to maintain the speed. Jaden, the tag is made.
Bad result for Jaden, ending up on her backside right by the front line, but Oran being able to get that quick tag is great work for her because she can now recover, she can get ready for what's to come and hopefully bring it home for Kunoichi early on in this Chase 4 of this match.
Athletes ready!
Once again, Anarchy turned to Ava, who said she's here to be an animal on the quad. And that was certainly pretty aggressive, but not able to really find an opening. Oran under the ridge, goes into the middle of the quad. She ducks down low, but the tag did get made. Must have caught a bit of the shirt on the back.
Yeah, and good duck there underneath that small table between the middle of the quad. But Eva getting the tag is still being utilized a lot and had been utilized a lot in previous matches. So I'm going to be worried about her stamina as we move through this semi-final and what that might do to sway the results later on.
Quarter of the way through the game, it remains at 0-0. Taylor Carpenter, former Duchess of Dodge, coming into the action. Does not get the tag with the first attempt, but it's early on, so there's time for more. But can she force one? Round by the front line for Ava, and Ava sets up, stops, turns back on herself, and then Taylor anticipated it.
Great sense of control. Taylor there just tailing around the middle, pushing her to the edges, making sure Ava didn't have too many options to get any momentum behind her, cutting her off on the front line multiple times and not committing until the time was right there by the Lazy Boy. Closing off options for the sisters meant she could get that open tag there at the front of the Lazy Boy.
Amy Baldwin into the action now as Taylor hangs around by the loading bay. Amy just sticking her leg into that loading bay, making her opponent make the move, and then she's able to grab her by the ridge.
And if there's going to be any move that Amy Baldwin is going to excel at, and there are many, Dan, it will be this spider being able to thread her way between the loading bay corner to be able to infiltrate that obstacle and make options for her as a tagger to push the pressure on any evader that gets in between her and her goal.
Caitlin Bergstrom right. The next into action for Kunoichi. Oh, lovely work on the sisters, but can't quite find a way to make contact with Amy there. She does try to cut off. Amy uses that line from the ridge into the base of the mountain once again, and there's a slap. I thought it was in frustration at first, but it turned out to be celebration as Caitlin made the tag.
Yeah, Caitlin getting 3 clear attempts there. Really impressed with the first one, being able to come in off of the high line across the sisters, but then later, even then, jumping across, making a little attempt on infiltrating the tilted cube before dropping down and getting that diving tag under the mountain.
Athletes ready!
Big moment this. Brittany Durant into the action once again. It hasn't gone particularly well for her when they've called upon her, Anarchy, but that went a lot better as Caitlin is tagged very quickly.
Yeah, again, pressure from those high line routes. I'm not sure if all players on both teams will be able to be as comfortable with these high line strides, but I know Brittany Durant has competed at skill competitions for parkour and has no worry about striding on these thin obstacles real high up.
Where she got the tag. Can Brittany now get an evasion? We're into the second half of this semi-final. They can't be separated at the moment. Brittany looking to open up a lead as Domino heads after her. Wow, she spun around there, completely sold herself a dummy. And Brittany goes round the front line. She might have enough pace, only 5 seconds left. Goes over the sisters, claims the tag, and the tag is given. And we are talking millimetre. If that does not make contact, it is the first point of the semi.
The determining factor there was Brittany coming round the front line and whether or not she would be able to mount the sisters and get across them quick enough, keeping the acceleration from the flat ground and transferring that up, and she just didn't have it, unfortunately, Dan.
Fine margins in this one. Ava Yamani into the action. Domino starts the sisters, swings around the bar. Oh, and there was a tag on the hand, was it? Little snipe?
Yeah, that little snipe tag there, being able to catch a trailing hand while Domino was trying to get round the tilted cube. Ava, real good to be able to get quite a large frame. She is a taller lady, and she is able to throw herself between those bars, get the slide, and be accurate enough to get that hand tag there on the bar. Jess Chan stepping up to the chase plate for Kunoichi.
Athletes ready!
10 chasers in, a bit of a false start there from Jess, but it appears that they are going to rerun it. Too keen.
Well, it only benefits Ava here. This sort of false start is something we see where there isn't going to be an official penalty, but it is not good for the player on the chaser plate to be able to run before the bell, because it only gives the evader, in this case Anarchy's Eva, a little bit more time to recover from what she just has achieved. So she can now get her breath back, she can recover. Jess sitting on the chaser plate, still getting nervous, and then having to reset for the next go at this chase.
And Ava changing her starting position from where she was.
Probably a good move there, Dan. Just mixing it up a little bit, getting in ahead of Jess, deciding, okay, look, I could start anywhere I like. I've got multiple options. I might not go the same way. I might not use the same pattern. Unpredictability is what we're looking for here in World Chase Tag, because at the end of the day, you've only got 12 by 12 meters. You're going to need to mix it up to keep your opponent guessing.
Athletes ready!
Ava Yamani's name being chanted by the crowd here at Les Arènes. Jess Chan looking to disappointment. Hops around in the center of the quad, up into that stance on top of the tilted cube. Ava round the loading bay and under the ridge and round by the front line. Jess is trying to find a chance to get her, and that is the chance. She waited and waited and cut her off using the sisters.
Let's go! Mid-air tag between the sisters. And as I said earlier, it really comes down to who can control himself on this high line. Ava feels comfortable with these strides, but Jess does too, being able to get those strides across the front line and make the tag between the sisters. Phenomenal stuff there by Kunoichi's Jess.
Athletes ready!
This is a serious matchup. 0-0 going into the 12th chase. And, oh, Amy Baldwin bounces off the sisters. Can Jess Chan evade possibly the best chase tagger in the women's division? Not if she falls over, she can't. And a slip proves fatal, and it remains scoreless going into the final quarter of the game. And Anarchy have Amy Baldwin on the quad, looking to give them a lead late on in the piece.
Dangerous place to be for Kunoichi. Let's see what Amy can do for Team Anarchy right now in that evader hot seat.
Athletes ready!
Caitlin called into action just as they did earlier when Amy was on the quad. Do they believe that Caitlin is the one to nullify this threat? Well, she's nullified her there. They are using her expertly.
It does look like it. Caitlin, obviously an American player from New Jersey, got some of that pattern down, got some of the stratagem from the Americans, making sure she's putting it to good use and seeing what she can do to get that dive in there against Amy Baldwin. Got the tag, now let's see what she can do to try and get the evasion.
And just like earlier, Caitlin on the quad, Anarchy sending Brittany. She managed to tag her earlier on. Can she do it again? Caitlin sets off. She's in open ground, and ultimately Brittany makes her pay, and we are going down to the wire here, because it is 0-0 after 12 chasers, and Brittany Durrant could win it for Anarchy.
There it is, last chances there for Anarchy to get that whole win in the semi-finals, and they're going to want that W. I think Brittany is setting up just here at the back by the tilted cube, making sure the shoes are grippy, making sure the head's in the game.
Taylor Carpenter in. Anarchy beat Kunoichi to become US champions last time out. Can they beat them here to reach the world final? Brittany Durrant loping around the front line. There's a dive through the ridge that does not make contact from Taylor. Brittany goes high. Taylor up onto the tilted cube. Can she find a way to make the tag? And yes, she does. The match point is not taken by Anarchy. It is now match point Kunoichi.
Yeah, Taylor making that play real smart there, not just tailing Brittany. Brittany's got some serious legs on her. She's got the speed, but Taylor actually being able to run into the center, control the whole match, all the way until that last second where she's able to get inside the tilted cube to get that dive over the bar, holding onto that bar to keep herself safe while there's the tag. Great gates vault there by Taylor Carpenter.
Amy Baldwin to try and save the match and take us to sudden death in this second semi-final. Taylor Carpenter hanging around. There's a reach and a swipe, but it does not make contact. Amy Baldwin up and having another go. Taylor cannot get out of the way, and 16 chasers can't separate them. So the spot in the final will be decided by a sudden death chase-off.
So evenly matched here, Dan. Crazy to see these two teams go head-to-head again, and Kunoichi not be able to get the edge on Anarchy this time, but also not be beaten outright. So let's see what happens once they've come to this draw conclusion. We're going to have to go to a sudden death mini-game at the end of this World Chase Tag match.
Longest evasion wins, and the stakes are huge. The winner goes through to the final. The loser has to settle for the third, fourth playoff. It is Volt, the French team, that await in the final, and the Dutch-based team, Rooftop Queens, who will be fighting it out for the effective bronze medal position. From what we've seen so far, who are you picking to go in and get the business done for each team, Connor?
Let's see, if I am true, I think I need to see Caitlin on a tag position again. She is the answer for anything Anarchy have got on the quad.
And particularly Amy Baldwin, right?
Yeah, Amy Baldwin. I think everyone's got a little bit of mystique around Amy Baldwin. We've got a brother in Kai Baldwin, and she is phenomenal in her own right. But I think her time has come for people to start to figure out her patterns, figure out her stratagems, and have answers for what she's putting out there on the quad.
Well, you would think that Anarchy are going to go to Amy, Jaden, or Ava. Two of those three. They have been the main ones, but then they have used Brittany to try and track down Caitlin Bergstrom-Wright. So it is going to kind of depend on who they see on the quad as the evader.
And under pressure, I think, honestly, the quickest tag to be made is either going to be Domino or Jess Chan if we're looking at Kunoichi's side. So you've got to put them on the chase plate. If Anarchy are choosing their evader as someone, like you say, Ava or Amy Baldwin gets put on as an evader, I have to pick the quickest tagger to be able to put the pressure on these and be able to get the tag quickly.
Well, we've seen plenty of sudden death chase-off. We saw one earlier on in the group stages here this afternoon with Rooftop Queens and Fakaw, but we saw lots in the open division yesterday. And look, we've seen full-on evasions during the sudden death, a full 20 seconds. We've seen spikes at around the 3-4 second mark. We've also seen those mid-range ones where it really does offer an opportunity for either team to win, and it can come right down to the wire. We are talking hundredths of a second. The decision on who goes on the quad as evader and as chaser is utterly vital. And these guys, their World Championship title hopes may depend on whom they choose from their team to try and get it done here.
The stakes can be higher for the individual player in sudden death. This is when it becomes less about a team game. It becomes more about, okay, you have been picked. The team manager thinks that you are the one to get it done. Now all of that responsibility is on your shoulders to play the quickest game of chase tag you can.
Well, you can see Brittany Durant there. Is she just trying to conserve her energy, or is the tension just too much to bear for her? Ava Yamane
10 seconds.
Just stood there, ready, primed. She has joined this team to win. She said this the other night in a press conference. It is not about having a lovely game with her friends. She is here to eat up the opposition. Can she play a decisive role here? We're
Ava
still
the
waiting.
Animal.
Yeah.
That was what she named herself. She was saying, I'm here to get animalistic. I want to put some aggression on the quad. We're all friendly and smiles outside, but I want to make sure when we're here, we are as competitive as we can be.
Well, we are still waiting, and I'm not sure what the delay is.
And we are getting ready for that rock, paper, scissors to decide who is going in first.
No, they're going to go with the original rock, for the original rock, paper, scissors at the start of the game. That is how they're going to work it. And it is Caitlin Bergstrom-Wright as the evader and Amy Baldwin as a chaser. It's roles reversed here. Interesting.
Athletes ready!
Longest evasion wins. The winner goes through to the World Championship final. Caitlin Bergstrom-Wright being chased down by maybe the world's best in Amy Baldwin, who makes the tag. Our clock says 10.5 seconds. It'll probably be less than that. We need the official time. But having been frustrated by Caitlin a couple of times during the 16 chase match, maybe Amy Baldwin has struck back in sudden death.
Yeah, and it's about that pressure. Amy's just able to put so much pressure on from that first jump to the tilted cube, bouncing back off, taking back the center, and then being able to get that sprint finish to cut underneath the ridge. Great tag attempt there, and there it was, made underneath the ridge by Amy Baldwin.
So we await the official time. It is probably going to be less than the 10.6. It might even be less than the 9 seconds that we've got on the big screen there. But the exact time counts. It is going to be, you're looking at 1 or 2 chances as a tagger.
Yeah, if you've got 9-10 seconds to beat, you realistically have to put pressure on, make the evader make a mistake, and then capitalize on that mistake to get the first evasion there, to get the first tag secured there early on. As soon as we miss a first swipe, we're not going to get a chance for a second. Not within those times. Especially as I'm just hearing here in my ear, it sounds like we've got 8 seconds.
8.09. That is not a lot of time with which to play for Kunoichi. Does that change your plan in who you send in?
8.09 seconds. Amy's getting used again. It looks like Anarchy have set Amy up, which means team captain Jess Chan has been selected by Kunoichi. Hard choice there. I'm not sure if I'd have went with Domino, especially for the pressure, but let's see what Jess can do, especially with her prowess at the parkour and being able to get those high lines done.
She's only got 8 seconds to get this done, Jess Chan, but if she can, her team reach the World Championship final. Amy Baldwin scampering for cover, and now under the sisters. Surely that does it! That does it! And Amy Baldwin has led the team to victory!
Over the moon, Amy jumping in joy, whole team. This means the world for them to be able to get that and go through straight from the semi-finals to out of their group and then make this happen. Jess, you got to feel for Jess. I mean, she did well, but she had that tag attempt there by the tilted cube, didn't take the dive, and that is it for Kunoichi.
Well, look at that, Kunoichi huddled up in commiseration. They are gutted. They blasted through the group, but could not break down Anarchy's defenses. And then Amy Baldwin, both as tagger and evader in the sudden death, managing to secure the win for Anarchy. It means that Anarchy are through to the World Championship final and face a repeat matchup with Volt from the group stage where they were convincingly beaten, while Kunoichi have to make do with the 3rd-4th playoff up against Rooftop Queens. Greg Ball is heading down to the quad for us right now. Hopefully, he's going to grab Dara De Paulo from Anarchy, who have booked their spot in the World Final. He might be able to grab a member of Volt for us as well, because they will contest the Women's World Championship Final here this afternoon at Les Arènes Ovry-Courcouronnes. As Kunoichi trudge back to the changing rooms, they will return. We're going to have another break here, because we do have a little bit of recovery time before the 3rd-4th playoff and then the World Final. But I believe we have members of both of our World Championship Final qualifying teams. Greg Ball is quad side.
Thank you very much, Dan. Right, so firstly, we're here to chat to Dara. We've seen that you've been on crutches for most of today and you haven't been able to play. Can you run us through what happened in the past couple of days that led you here?
Yeah, so on Tuesday, I was doing an ascent, like a normal one that I've done a bunch of times, and I was like just over 3 stories up, and my foot slipped, and I fell and hit the ground outside. So we went to the hospital, and I've been there the last few days, and I'm just really grateful that I'm walking away with relatively minor injuries, and then I'm here to be able to support my team, both of them. And I know it's been hard on them all. They were there with me when I fell, and they've been in the hospital with me and everything. But I'm really grateful I get to be here this weekend.
Well, thank you very much. We really do appreciate that. Looks like we're going to crack on with an interview for both of you. So can we shuffle slightly more to the center, and then I'll come over here. So we got the trophy in the background. Alrighty, so obviously you've already played each other. You're about to play each other again in the finals.
Yes, I'm getting on the quad.
You're going to get on the quad. Well, we've got 2 injured players about to get on the quad. Mario, first we're going to talk to you about the wrist injury over here. What's going on? And despite that, you still got yourself an evasion.
It's broken.
Sweet.
But I'm still quite confident in my game, so I did play. So that happened.
Yeah. And obviously, you've got the home crowd advantage over here too. How do you feel about winning the whole thing in front of a French audience?
I'm happy for them.
Do you want to tell them in French as well?
Merci!
Absolutely fantastic. Now, exactly same matchup against Anarchy. Are you going to play the exact same game, or do you think there'll be a different tactic?
You mean we're gonna win? Yes, yes, yes.
Fair enough, fair enough. We're going to come back to yourself over here. Yeah. We'll switch it out from the rivalry. Okay. I want to talk a bit more about how you're training, about the quad that you're playing on, and about the fact that your team is from all over the States.
Yes, so one of our players is from France, and we have a girl from Australia, and then one of our players is in Dubai, and then the rest of them are in the States. We get together when we can to train, and we just try to have fun and do what we can.
Well, having fun and doing what you can is good, but will it win you the competition? We will find that out shortly. First, we're going to have the third place playoff, and then we're going to see you two in the final. So go and get rested, obviously hobble yourself back, and we'll see you soon. But for now, we're going to move on into the audience, and we're going to chat to someone who's a bit of World Chase Tag, we'll call him a bit of a legacy in the sport. Bear with. Oh, I'm too old for this stuff now, ladies and gentlemen. That's why they got me on the mic. There he is. So firstly, we're here in the loudest section of the whole arena right now. But next to the drum, we have a chap called Marcus Mead. Now, Marcus was here since the beginning of World Chase Tag. He was here playing tag in the park with Orlando, Christian, and Damien, right? What is it like going from that side of Chase Tag to now World Chase Tag on the main stage with a huge crowd?
I mean, yeah, this is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, there's been flags waving, we got drums, everyone's wearing jerseys. I mean, you could have only dreamed of this when we started this whole thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's amazing, honestly.
And like, you used to work obviously behind the camera, behind the tech. What's it like to actually watch a match for the first time?
Well, yeah, that's the weird thing. So Christian, Damien, Thomas, Sloak, all the camera guys, like, we work insanely hard for the event, and then you come out of it, and everyone's like, oh yeah, what do you think of that match? What do you think of that? And you're just like, I have no idea, because everything just sort of flies by. So to actually be able to sit here in the crowd is just like the best experience ever.
Well, I hope you have fun. Thank you very much for the interview. Thank you for Gorilla Glue for sponsoring the competition, and thank you to the fans for coming out today. Give it up!
There we go, Greg Ball on his travels around Les Arènes. Now, we are going to crack on with the third, fourth playoff, which will see Rooftop Queens versus Kunoichi, effectively for the bronze medal. Then we will get straight into the final, a repeat of the group stage game between the French team Volt and Anarchy. That is the former champions of France versus the reigning champions of the USA. A repeat of that group game where Volt won it convincingly. But it's not just this World Championship, the second ever Women's World Championship that's going to be decided today. Because tonight, right here at Les Arènes, we have the conclusion of the Open Division. We have a whole load of the greatest World Chase Tag athletes in the world, where a 7th World Champion will be crowned. Could Hollywood Freerunners manage to win it again?
It is a Hollywood story. So many times denied in major tournaments, they now get their hands on the biggest prize in the sport, and the addition of Kai Baldwin has proven to be decisive, John. There is the trophy about to be presented to Hollywood Freerunners for the first time in their history. They can call themselves World Chase Tag World Champions. Hollywood Freerunners are the best in the business, the best on the planet.
It almost feels like now everyone has a target on our back. Not as many people, I'm sure, are rooting for us, but the ones that are sticking with us, thank you.
I think they are the strongest they have ever been. They've slowly learned to not rely on Kyle as much, and I think this is the most well-rounded their team has been, which is a scary thing to think of.
No, but I think this year there will be a lot of changes.
Thank you for coming to this event. Thank you for putting your body on the line. And then, yeah, belt to ass.
It is looking good. He's got miles and miles and miles of space, and he's got that convincingly. And he goes over the distance to the tilted cue. He's done it! He's done it! Hollywood Freerunners win the World Championship here in France.
parle beaucoup, ça s'agite beaucoup, mais je crois qu'ils n'ont pas compris en fait. Ici, c'est chez nous. Ici, c'est pas...
Désolé les amis, c'était un récap de l'année dernière, pas de hier. Mais on va savoir tout de suite qui va être élu champion du monde de ce World Chaste.
Just 2 more games to go here at the WCT7 World Chase Tag Women's World Championship. The bronze medal match, the 3rd-4th playoff, is about to get underway. It will see Rooftop Queens playing in their first ever major tournament with a roster of just 4 players. Look to finish in 3rd place. They managed to battle and scrape their way through the group. A sudden death win against Fakaw, the Parisian team, and then a heavy defeat to Kunoichi. But they did put up a fight against Volt in the semis, only beaten by 2 points to 0. They now test themselves once again against Kunoichi, who dished out such a beating in the group phase. But could there be a touch of revenge, particularly with Kunoichi seeming crestfallen at their narrow sudden death defeat in the semi-finals when it looked like they might be the team to beat, Connor?
Yeah, having missed out the opportunity for the final, Kunoichi now have to rally the troops, get back in there, and obviously they have just competed as well. So we've had this little break in between to make sure they have a little refresher, but being able to get back on the quad now is going to be a hard task for Kunoichi. So don't count out Rooftop Queens, because they're going against a team that have just been beaten by the top contenders, and Rooftop Queens are keeping their head held high with hope in their eyes to be able to get this done in the 3rd place playoff.
Well, look, there has been some impressive work done by Rooftop Queens in this one, particularly from Nord. She started off the tournament with 2 evasions against Fakaw, and how important did they prove to be as they managed to get that sudden death victory. But I can tell you now, we're seeing pictures live of Kunoichi, and they are not the bubbly selves that they usually are. They're putting on a bit of a show for their entrance, but it's nowhere near what we saw earlier on, because they know their hopes of World Championship glory have already passed them by. They came here thinking they were the team to be able to beat Anarchy. They couldn't do it in the semi-finals, and now this is all they've got to play for, the consolation of finishing 3rd at the World Championship.
Yeah, the swagger has definitely gone from their step down. They're stepping up to the mark here now. A little bit having to get back in the game and having to shake off that loss there that they've just received. Let's see if they can get their head back in the game. Let's see if they can get back onto this match and fight hard to take home that 3rd place playoff win.
Well, they are a historic team, Kunoichi, just for the fact that they won the first ever women's league in a major tournament. That was the US National Championship when they beat Victoria's Secret. That was 4 years ago, but all they have done is suffer heartbreak since then. They have been competitive. They've been one of the best teams. It looked like they'd even improved their team with the addition of Taylor Carpenter, but it hasn't quite been enough once again to stop the tournament favourites, this time Anarchy, in the semi-finals. But it is going to be Domino who leads off for them, starting off by the sisters, as they look to at least walk away from Valkyrie with some sort of honours and a 3rd place finish.
Looking strong individually, Kunoichi. Definitely done the work, but it does look like the ecosystem, everyone has got a lot stronger. Everyone has been training hard, and all of the teams, although Kunoichi have got better, other teams have got even better still.
Rooftop Queens versus Kunoichi. Chase 1. Kunoichi
athletes ready!
Well, it is Noah for Rooftop Queens who is chasing first as Domino just jogs around to the tilted cube. Noor trying to get up on the bars, and it did work in the end. It was sort of an accidental slide along one of the bars and then kind of found an opening.
Once we're up there, we need to make sure we can either dismount behind the tilted cube back down to the ground to cover that mountain escape, or get into the tilted cube. And yes, she slipped out a foot, but she was able to get onto the tilted cube well enough to get that tag there secured.
Athletes ready!
Well, Kunoichi have not actually been evaded in this tournament. Apart from their very... No, in fact, he hasn't been evaded at all. Apart from the sudden death, which they lost. And Taylor manages to preserve that record. It is 0-0. Taylor stays on. And if they manage to keep doing it, they could go through the entire tournament here without conceding an evasion, but still not end up winning it.
Yeah, and obviously we want a clear win if we can. Let's see what Taylor Carpenter could do to make that happen.
Yeah, Sage Som from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, out of the Dexterity Depot Gym, the American member of this Dutch-based team. Taylor at the bottom of the mountain, just shaping one way, then goes over the sisters. Sage trying to track her down, gets onto those platforms on the front line and moves quite quickly across them, but not quickly enough to force an opening. Trying to get into the loading bay. Can she flush her out? She can, but she can't cut her off, and that'll be that. That is a point for Kunoichi, who take the lead in this one.
There it is, ex-Apex Nemesis member Taylor Carpenter getting the transfer. Kunoichi picking up a strong player with her own stratagem, training her in the ways of Kunoichi. They've got a good coach there in Jess Chan and Cozy, being able to work out how to play well and executing it here to get that win against Rooftop Queens.
Vera into the action as Rooftop Queens find themselves trailing. She goes up onto the top of the mountain, drops into the tilted cube, gets out of it pretty swiftly, and she makes a dive under the front line, and I think she got both hands on Taylor there.
Rooftop Kings are able to secure the tag, but still 1 point down. We are on chase 5. Vera is going to have to do the hard work of digging themselves back out of this hole, and that is going to be hard when Domino is stepping up on the chaser plate for Kunoichi.
Yeah, Rooftop Queens, the only player to evade for them so far is Noor. So this would be a first for Vera. The 4-woman team competing in their first big chase tag event. They have played in some of the local chase-offs, but this is different, and that's nice manoeuvring from Vera, but it didn't last long enough.
One juke, one too many, down by the Lazy Boy. I really liked her stop there by the sisters, because it did look like she was going to continue. I think Domino counted on her continuing, and then that jump back to the Lazy Boy, that first one really worked to stop the chase pace going into the chaser's hands, but that evader then had to make an extra decision. I think getting back under the sisters would have helped Vera out there.
It's Noor's turn once again to get involved in the action. Domino at the base of the mountain. Noor up high. Couldn't quite find a way to go through the bars of the loading bay. Does go through the bars of the ridge, but it's a spin around low under the front line from Domino. She goes to the base of the mountain. Seen that line used a lot by Emmy Baldwin so far in this tournament. Noor just kind of reached through, realised it wasn't happening, and realised that they were going 2-0 down.
Yeah, that attempt there in the ridge really would have made the difference, but being able to step through the ridge, couldn't get the flush by keeping her blocked on the front line, and then working through the ridge, just couldn't tail her for the rest of that chase. Domino doing really well to keep the distance there all the way until the back.
Well, this one finished 4-0 in the group phase. It's 2-0 after 6 chases here. We could be seeing something similar happening as Domino hangs around by the tilted cube. Sage drops down and manages to get out of there quickly, and that proved important as she managed to get the tag under the mountain.
Yeah, at this point I think Domino could have done with maybe sliding underneath that bar. It looked like it slowed her down a little bit to look at possibly doing the vault. A little slide would have got her down under the bar quickly, getting back up onto her feet. I think Sage would have dived for the same sliding tag, but there would have been a difference in distance if Domino had done the slide.
All around Florinda goes through the ridge. Nothing really intense at the moment, but then suddenly she switches it up. She couldn't quite maintain that momentum underneath the sisters as she emerged from them. Sage goes across the quad to the ridge. Could this be a first evasion for Rooftop Queens? Sage Storm onto the sisters, strides away to the green light to evasion.
Got one in the bag there. Sage doing great work, keeping up that distance and keeping her eyes on the chaser the whole time, looking over her shoulder, deciding where to go, deciding when to stop, get those stalls, put herself in a position where she can hold an obstacle, hold that cover before breaking away to find the next one. Great work there by Sage.
Sage's first evasion here today at Les Arènes. Can she back it up with another that would throw this result into doubt? Well, she can't, because Caitlin Bergstrom Wright has done some excellent work as a chaser today.
Yeah, Caitlin just diving down from that high line, being able to get straight into the tilted cube on the open side. Sage not knowing where she is, and there's the tag. Cannot double down on that evasion, but at least she's got one on the board for Rooftop Queens. Let's see what Kunoichi can do to try and get another evasion on the board for them.
Caitlin Bergstrom right, just crouched at the base of the mountain, threatening to go one way, but then goes the other. To the tilted cube, does not stop. Noor just pausing there. Kind of got in a bit of a mess, on the front line as well. And look at the distance between these two. It allows Caitlin all the time in the world to decide where she wants to go, and she goes under the ridge, and Noor, she looks gassed. It's another one. Oh, no. It did make contact. Yep. I beg your pardon. I thought she'd just given up there.
Tag secured. Caitlin having a little bit of a stone face afterwards, not choosing to concede it until she got all the way to the other side of the front line, and then the ref confirming that is a tag made.
Well, good tag in the end from Noor. That's why she stopped. Now, could she get her third evasion of the tournament? Rooftop Queens, the only team to evade Kunoichi today. And Noor manages to just get out the way of that dive from Jess Chan. Jess going over to the front line. Brilliant work up high. Can she keep the pace? And she uses that one again. Moving the front line to the sister. She's done it so often and so well.
Yeah, I just don't think you can be safe on these high line routes if you're going up against Jess Chan now. She is a mastermind at keeping those feet underneath her while up high. Just like a gazelle springing between these bars. If I was up against Jess right now, I'd be looking at scrambling and trying to get a little bit more cover by going under the sisters.
And yet she's so small that she's also good at that. She is a multiple threat to Jess Chan. It is Vera who's going to have to try and stop Jess, and there's that high line again. This time she decides to sort of abort out of it and then goes under the mountain, threatening to go one way and then the other. Some work down low. A lot of stuff to hide behind here by the tilted cube, and Jess Chan now sets off into open play, goes under the front line and gets the tag. Excellent work from Jess Chan to restore the 2-point advantage.
Yeah, fantastic dueling here. Jess is keeping her eyes on the chaser the whole time. As an evader, you've really got to watch out for where your evader is trying to flush you out of that obstacle each time. You are then controlling that by telegraphing if you're going to go left or right, keeping the feet moving, keeping the eyes on the chaser, and then making those decisions on your breakaway.
Well, Jess Chan drinking in the adulation of the crowd, perched on top of the mountain, now drops down. Sage Saw must tag or this game is over, and Kunoichi take third place in this one. But it's not over just yet because Sage makes the tag, and Rooftop Queens, she has an opportunity with back-to-back evasions to actually keep them in it.
Yeah, and fantastic tag there by Sage, being able to thread herself between the bars, dropping down onto the tilted cube so quickly, and then being able to get her head underneath that bar to secure the tag. Let's see if she can make that good tag into a great evasion.
Caitlin Bergstrom right to win it for Kunoichi. She has been excellent for them, arguably their best player so far today. Can she wrap up the third place in the World Championship? Yes, she can. Once again, Caitlin Bergstrom Wright gets the tag. And it means that Kunoichi, who came here to win it, were so heartbroken at going out narrowly in the semi-finals. They've got smiles on their faces once again because they take third place in the biggest World Chase Tag event in the world.
Definitely international players, definitely on the world stage, and they deserve to be here every bit. It's just the level is high. Team Volt came here, Team Anarchy came here, and they have absolutely dominated their groups. So, Kunoichi, fair play. Let's look forward to seeing you next year. We got in that third place result in a great World Championship Women's Division for this WCT7 event.
Well, that wraps up the tournament for Rooftop Queens and for Kunoichi. Rooftop in their first ever big chase tag event finished fourth. Kunoichi take third place. Amy Dominguez Domino, 3 evasions for her, but 2 evasions apiece for Jess, Taylor, Caitlin, and 1 for Oran. But Caitlin Bergstrom Wright's tagging was superb, particularly when they went up against Anarchy, ultimately the team that beat them. But Caitlin against Amy Baldwin really did give them an opportunity. It was one they could not take in the end, but they walk away with their heads held high on a third place finish in the World Championship.
And it did look like Caitlin had a game plan for Amy right from the beginning. So to see that by the team, having been trained and prepped, ready for this comp, I think that makes the difference. Being able to get a good training camp in, make sure they're ready, and then when they come here, they can dominate and get as much traction as possible. Didn't quite get the result they're looking for, didn't get that goal this time, but coming in at third place, I think they can be very proud at the effort they put in.
Yeah, they certainly can, and you'll be seeing them again, no doubt. Kunoichi are going nowhere, but that is the hors d'oeuvre. Now, there we go. The third place medals being dished out to Kunoichi. But that was the hors d'oeuvre. This is the main course, because we are about to see somebody become champions of the world for just the second time in the women's division. Volt are the French team. They are former French national champions. They had that title ripped from them by Urban Core, a team who have now disbanded, but look who they've got with them. They've got Miley's Blasco, formerly of Urban Core, and Leia Marionette cheering them on, the Knight of Flight from that World Championship.
So definitely the local support from the French here. Volt will be representing the French. But talking of French, we see some baguettes on the quad. Ava coming out with her baguettes in hand. I think I know what's going to come here. Anarchy here to prove a point. And although they are against the WCT6 French national champions, Anarchy hold the more recent WCT7 US championship. Now, can they capitalize on that momentum in this season and take the world championship by storm? What do you think, Dan Dawson?
Well, Anarchy, look, they were expected to come here and be the team to beat, and yet they were heavily beaten by Volt, 3-0 in the group stage. They needed a sudden death chase-off to narrowly beat Kunoichi. They have only reached this final by the skin of their teeth, but that doesn't matter. It is a one-off contest between the champions of the USA and the former champions of France. And the winner becomes the world champion, the biggest prize there is in this sport. Dara De Paolo of Anarchy is helped onto the chaser's plate once again for the rock, paper, scissors against Marior, who has to use her other hand because she's broken her wrist. And it is paper beats rock.
Really
So
gone through
Anarchy,
the wars here this weekend, these women.
This is a dangerous game.
And the thing is that we've already had some injuries, but the thing is I think the injuries from Volt will make the bigger difference. Coming in already at only having, oh, there's our baguette flag. There's Eva on the flag for Team Anarchy. Look at this, ripping that croissant, ripping the baguette in half. Time to show the French what's what, jumping across the pond to an American team just for the win and to see if she can become the ultimate villain here of tonight. Ava, being chosen for the first evasion opportunity, having won the rock, paper, scissors, Anarchy have the best chance at getting that first lead against Volt, and it looks like they're going to need it. Having already been walloped in the group stages by Volt, let's see what happens now.
Is it repeat or revenge as Anarchy and Volt meet for the second time this afternoon? But this one determines the fate of the World Championship title.
Volt down to 5.5 players. Marioya having her hand broken earlier on in the match. Dara obviously coming out from Team Anarchy, but still as a team captain, acting as a team captain, behind the scenes there, able to give moral advice and keep people's spirits high when they need to make decisions on who to pick. Allison jumping in as a sub. So Anarchy still have 6 members against Volt's 4.5.
The World Championship final is underway. Clémence Benoit heading towards Eva Yamani, the French member in the US national champions team. She has ripped apart a baguette literally on the quad today. Can she rip apart a baguette figuratively by beating the French in the world final in their own country? Eva can't get away from Clémence, who makes the tag in the opener.
1 point for the baguette. Fortunately, Ava's gonna maybe regret this decision to be so bold and throw it in the French fans' faces.
She is not here to make friends. She has made that very, very clear this weekend, Eva Yamani, but she cannot get a point to lead off. Jaden De Paolo looks to be on the chaser's plate. It is Jaden as she sets off with Clémence in her sights. Huge tag and a very quick one as well for Jaden De Paolo. It is Ava, Jaden and Amy Baldwin they've been relying on far more than everybody else in this team, Anarchy.
Yeah, Jaden to have a very clear flush there of the ridge, being able to step in and push Clémence onto the front line where she can just skip underneath that front table and get the tag there. Nice quick tag, gives her some fresh energy. Now she can reset and have the opportunity for Anarchy's own evasion attempt here.
Andrea Kwesny comes in. She played such a starring role when Volt managed to become French national champions a few years ago, and it was all about her tagging, and she makes the tag there.
Big dive for the tag. Andre making sure she secured it, so much so it looked like it might have even been an ankle punch, being able to just smash the Anarchy player, Jaden's ankle, and then get that tag secured, ready for her to stand up, reset, shake off, and they have chose Ava, ex-competitor on the French team, up against Volt here.
Ava Yamani back into it against Andrea Kwesny. She is going aggressively, turning it into a race, but she does try to cut off the angle. Andrea by the ridge. It's another race around the outside as Andrea got the pace to get away from it. Looks like she might do. You can hear the French crowd. You can hear them cheer. You can hear them roar. There's a dive. It makes no contact. And Andrea Kwesny gets an evasion. Ava Yamani is claiming the tag earlier. Dara De Paolo desperately wants a DTR.
Andre's celebrating already. We got green lights. It's looking like it's a done deal, but Ava is sure she got that tag underneath the mountain. Let's have a little look at what the ref is saying. Ava's going to go check. We got a replay here much earlier than that. We are seeing a dive from Ava while in pursuit. While dropping down from the tilted cube, she managed to flush out Andre and then dive underneath the mountain to try and get a tag there. If that one wasn't made, it was a big leap. It was a big risk, and if it does not come her way, it is going to be an upset for Anarchy here.
It's going to the video review. Was Ava Yamani's arm long enough to make contact? The verdict. Evasion given! It wasn't! And I tell you what, if Ava Yamani had been holding that baguette, maybe she would have made contact, but her arm wasn't quite long enough, and that means that Volt take the lead.
She's got that wingspan, Dan. She's a tall lady. She just didn't quite manage to get the positioning right. We're going to need to get that dive in. Andre skipping away literally by a couple of inches, be able to miss that tag, get back to her feet, and not slow down the whole way around to get that first evasion on the board for the French team, Volt.
Athletes ready!
Andrea starting by the ridge, Amy Baldwin comes in, and that is real fucking bouncing around all over the place. And we're still going. The lights have gone red. The tag was given. We're still going. Right, Amy Baldwin once again has managed to tag somebody about 3 times in a chase, it would appear.
Andre decided not to slow down there, but Amy, not deterred by the lights, the noise, or anything else, just wanted to get her woman, being able to chase her down and get that tag secured for Anarchy.
No, the chase is going to be run again. It would appear it was a premature hitting of the tag, but I mean, to be fair, we thought it was done.
Yeah.
The chase of the evader carried on. They did exactly the right thing.
Yeah, you shouldn't ever rely on anything else other than the ability to evade.
1-0.
So we rerun it. Amy Baldwin back on the chaser's plate. Andrea Kwesny starting once again by the ridge. And once again, she heads off towards the mountain. It's not quite as fast and furious. Amy going a little bit more measured, and that way, she does get the tag.
Yeah, now having already put that intensity into Andre's court, I think Andre was a little bit worried to get a nice fresh Amy to reset, get back to the chase plate after that attempt, and then go for a dive tag there by the loading bay.
Now, just a little word with Amy Baldwin here, because I think she really slammed into the side of the mountain at the start of that chase that was ended up being rerun. How much has it taken out of her? Mylis Blasco, former world champion with Urban Core Nano, sets off after Amy Baldwin. She stumbles, and look at the intensity in this. She's hurt herself. They're putting it all on the line in the world final, as you would expect.
Definitely my pick there, though, Dan. I'm going to put Mylis against Amy all day long. That is the person that I'd throw onto the chaser plate to get it done. And you can see there, flushing out from the ridge real quick and being able to accelerate across the front line without holding anything back for that big tag there on the front line, slamming into the border.
Has she done any damage? Does it take anything out of her? Does that affect Volt's chances? Jaden De Paolo setting off after her, and she's doing it with intensity. She's doing it with speed. But Mylis Blasco has managed to stay clear of her for now. Can she do so again? Jaden De Paolo might have missed a chance. She might have missed a chance. There's a dive and a swing, and she gets there. That was a late one, but it was was a good one from Jaden De Paolo.
Jaden done so well to not let those first couple of attempts deter her and keep the speed up against Miley. Seeing Miley is not really slowing down here. She's aiming to get a good run in before she stops and checks for her chaser. And Jaden, reading that, is able to capitalize on the cutting on the inside and getting the loading base sliding tag there at the back.
Béline Lesage, new recruit for this vault team, into the action for the first time in this World Championship final. Jaden De Paolo competing for her sister Dara, the owner of the gym, who cannot compete, but she can't level this game up, and we're halfway through, and Vault lead it by 1-0.
There we go, Béline, real happy with that tag there, screaming to make sure she's very happy. Have got the secured tag. Now they're coming in to chase 9. We are over halfway. Vault are still up 1-0. They just need to hold that lead. Can Béline keep it going and or possibly get another evasion on the board?
Amy Baldwin back into action despite the knock she took earlier. Béline gets tagged. That's such good awareness from Amy Baldwin.
The absolute accuracy to be able to just reach up on a moving foot at height on that ladder and just go, whoop, yep, don't worry, I've got you. You're out, I got the tag. Now I give the opportunity to really show what I'm worth and make up this deficit and put another point, or put the first point, sorry, on the board for Anarchy, and they do need it at this stage in the mid-game of this match.
Clemence Benoit into the action as Amy Baldwin once again looking to perform a rescue act for Anarchy. She helped produce one, she could not produce another one against Vault in the group stages. Baldwin, under the sister she goes. Clemence descends and reaches out and gets a bit of the shirt, and they still trail, and ridiculously, in the entire tournament so far, Anarchy have only led in one game for one chase. They were 2-0 down and won 3-2 against Valkyrie. They lost 3-0 to Vault. It was 0-0 against Kunoichi in the semis, and they're 1-0 down after 10 chases here.
Definitely not what I was expecting going into this, Dan, to be fair. I was going to expect dominance, especially with their athlete makeup and the way they train, the intensity, and the mix of skill sets they have at their availability. They are just not using it as they should.
Brittany Durant trying to get hold of Clemence Benoit. Clemence wheeling around the lazy boy, but the hand reaches out and Brittany Durant manages to make contact, and Anarchy is still fighting. They are still fighting in this World Championship final.
They're going to need it. They're going to need to get stuck into this one and make sure they are digging deep to get the evasion. If they don't get in these next couple of chases, it will go to Vault. They're still 1-0 down.
Béline back in. Brittany on the move as the buzzer goes to the base of the mountain. And she keeps on moving over the sisters, round by the front line, using those boards, those big long strides. It's all the way around the outside. She bounces off the mountain. The tag is made, and look at the celebration for Béline. She knows they are inching closer to World Championship glory.
Béline again being chosen as that shutdown of the evasion attempt. Anytime Anarchy is starting to get some momentum, Béline is able to get there, get on the chaser plate, and shut down that evasion opportunity. Can the same chase between Amy and Béline come up with the same result?
They keep going to Amy Baldwin. They keep asking the Australian to dig them out of trouble. Can she do it? She's into the tilted cube. Béline jittery legs, but she swings around Amy Baldwin and gets the tag.
Great standoff here, Dan. We're seeing at the tilted cube, Amy Baldwin just reading the feet of Béline, deciding how many jitter steps is she taking. Is she going to go left, right? And all the while, Amy closing in on that position, being able to hold the bars and get herself a little closer to the corner, until she can see Béline break away, and then she can make her tag attempt. And it was a successful one at that.
Clemence Benoit into the action. This means so much. You can sense the nerves. The crowd are getting into it. They can sense they could have French world champions again. Vault onto the sisters. Clemence makes the tag, and Amy Baldwin draws a blank again. And it is match point to Vault.
We're seeing them cycle around these players, and a lot of people now are going to have that answer for Amy Baldwin. Although we have seen her be very good at tagging, we have not got those classic Amy Baldwin evasions we were expecting.
It falls to Brittany Durant, who must tag and then evade just to force sudden death in the World Championship final. Clemence Benoit looking to make the former champions of France the reigning champions of the world. But the tag is not made. It's claimed, but it's not made. So say the refs. Clemence Benoit tearing around the outside. 5 seconds to go. Brittany Durant, it needs to be now. a tag, and we are going to the final chase.
Trailing a hand tag, that snipe on the bar. Brittany, although she managed to get the tag, didn't look so happy about it. At the end of the day, she's had to do a lot of extra running there. If that first tag was actually secured, she has wasted a lot of energy she could do with in this, her evasion attempt in chase 16 of chase 16. This is match point and the last chance for Anarchy to get themselves a win.
Miley Blasco, what a story. The winner of the World Championship before has helped win it again with her new team Volt. Miley Blasco seals the deal as once again we have French World Champions in the women's division. Volt beat Anarchy in the group and then beat them in the final. And once again, the French touch the sky and rule the world in World Chase Tag's women's division.
Les Arena has absolutely erupted here. We've got drums, we've got multiple athletes, we've got teams, everyone swarming the winners. Big congratulations to Team Volt here for taking the win here in Evry at the WCT7 World Championship Women's Final. Volt have managed to bring it home to France.
Andrea Quesney got the evasion early in that final and they protected it. It was Andrea who helped them become French national champions a few years ago. But it was Miley Blasco who won the first ever Women's World Championship with Urban Core. The new recruit to Volt who got the decisive and final tag that has brought the trophy home for Volt. They can call themselves Women's World Champions. And we need to get a word from them.
And they came in as underdogs, remember, Dan, because Anarchy were doing a full roster. They had 6 players to choose from. Maybe they didn't cycle around all of them. Obviously, Brittany getting used a lot, Ava, Jaden, and Amy from Anarchy. But Volt were already down an injured player on the entrance of this match. So they ended up playing with only 4 players, and still they took that World Championship by storm and came home with the medal. They've got the trophy, and they are the winners of this World Championship.
Marion Manville, Clemence Benoit, Andrea Quesney, Berlin Lesage, and Miley Blasco are champions of the world. Greg Ball is on the quad with your new world champions.
Ladies and gentlemen, your WCT6 Women's Champions, Volt! So Mario, that's number 2 for France. You've retained the title. What do you have to say to the rest of the world?
That's number 2 for my list, so let's wait for the number 3 for my list.
Sorry, the crowd is going wild. Yeah, there we go. Now we can hear it over there. Alrighty. So the second question I have for you, right? There's a big move happening in the youth division right now. What kind of message do you want to send to the young people getting into World Chase Tag?
Take care. No, just enjoy, just find good teammates, and that's what's happening.
Fantastic. Second question, how do you plan to celebrate after this?
Small, little tisane, some biscuits, and that's it. See how old they are.
Some rest, some sleep, yeah?
Yeah, some rest, and of course, like, a party together, for sure.
So, obviously, for Melis, that's your second. But for everyone else, this is your first. As a champion, I know how this feels. Amazing moment, right? What do you say to the other teams here competing? What do you say to the other teams competing from France and for the rest of the world?
Everybody, like all the women division, leveled up and it's still leveling up. And it's so good to see that. And it just gives everybody the will to play again and more and more and more. So let's keep doing that because that's how the sports gets amazing, I think.
Well, you were all amazing out there. That was an amazing performance. Well done. You all very much deserved it. Let's get you up on that podium.
So Volt are your world champions. They were the first on the quad. This afternoon they went 1-0 down to Valkyrie and then had 9 consecutive evasions as they won every single game and went to take the title. The runners-up medals have been dished out, but it is time for Volt to ascend the mountain and be presented with the World Championship trophy.
That is obviously third place coming in at Kunoichi. Second place secured by Anarchy here on the live stream. Eva not so happy with her result there, switching sides to the American team, but coming out with the second. Still a decent medal, but we now have our winners in vault coming up for their #1 medal, and then also raising a trophy.
Miley Blasco, her second World Championship. This is only the second time we have had a World Championship in the women's division, and Miley Blasco has won it with 2 different teams. Andrea Quesney joins her. Berlin Lesage, Clémence Benoit receiving her medal, and the final one, team captain Marior Manville, about to ascend the mountain as Vault become champions of the world for the first time in their team's history.
Number 8, Andrea Quesney.
Well, hilariously, they were told to go up in number order. They're not paying any attention to that. And we're just reading out various names. But you can see these heroes have gone all the way to the World Championship title. They all have their medals. They have been presented with a baguette by Eva Yamini.
The ultimate trophy has been bestowed, one French woman to the next. There is the baguette above the head of the winners of this World Championship for WCT7 on the women's world stage.
And Vault are champions of the world. For just the second time, we have world champions in the women's division. They were not the favourites, but they were the best. They saw off all before them, game after game, only evaded once in their very first match, and they took out Anarchy, twice the title favourites, as they become world champions. And for Miley Blasco, her second World Championship crown.